Good evening, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. It is Talcott time tonight. Kind of continuing the development of our previous discussions of leadership and accountability. Tonight, we're going to jump into commitment. Some of the various, I put together some thoughts, some ideas, perspectives for tonight. And thank you, brothers and sisters, those who are joining now and may join at a later time. I forgot this part. The link to join is now pinned to the comments or to the chat. So for those who do want to join after the monologue and my introduction, my perspective on commitment, we'll open it up for those who want to join. Had an inspiring today. For those who may have seen, spent some time with Paul Unslaved over on Proper Instruction Motivates People. He's been the inspiration for this panel style development for when it does. Had some pretty, I don't know, my whole life, brothers and sisters, my whole life, every day, it's just so inspiring. It's so much fun to be alive when you're grateful. See, and I made a commitment to myself a long time ago, right? After I after I started on my path of recovery, started working on my spiritual healing within myself, which reminds me, my 7-year anniversary was a couple days ago, 7-year anniversary of no drinks, no booze for Jack. And that was the start of my growth, start of my my development was when I started this path. Get to the point, Jack. when I took an honest inventory of my life, and I was like, shit, Jack. Well, here you are. And it was the choices of the past that brought you to where you are. So you got to accept accountability. You got to accept responsibility for where you are and the way you've lived. And after I humbled myself to my knees in regret and shame, I apologized to God. I apologize to God. Please forgive me. I am so sorry I spent so much of my life worrying and angry. See, I remember being an addict and being suicidal and being depressed, and I remembered a lack of gratitude. I didn't realize it back then until it was pointed out to me in my steps of recovery. I had no friggin' gratitude. So the point towards commitment is I made a commitment to myself a long time ago. I would never again go to sleep ungrateful for the day that I just survived. Find a way, no matter what's happened in the day, no matter boo-hoo, poor me, no matter, this hurts, this sucks. I'm still grateful that I survived the day, that I made it through the day with what I have and the way I am. Because golly geez, being alive is kind of cool. I mean, what's the alternative? Nothing? No experience whatsoever? Nah, man, this life is an adventure. It's a game. So I encourage you, commit to yourself, reward yourself for, your past lives you've lived. Reward yourself with new habits, new practices, a commitment to grow in gratitude. Kind of jumping ahead of myself, but this is where I want commitment, why I want to discuss commitment. Here's an advice for everybody. Watch the Samadhi movies. Yes, please. If you have not, I encourage it. Spend the time and See what you can absorb. Those samadhi movies are very well done, and yeah, they were inspiring for me. Some of the work. See, this is where I my inspiration comes from the work of others. Other people alive today are sharing incredible messages. Just knowledge is available, and there's so many opportunities to be discovered. So, how about you? Are you committed to success or to failure? Which direction receives most of your attention and your time? Do you commit your time and your energy, your attention towards future success or failure? That's the way to figure it out. How much evaluate your day. Pay attention to what you're thinking. Notice what you're noticing. If you make that commitment to yourself that you're going to start paying attention to what you're doing, dude, your life will start changing. So, are you committed to success or failure? Definition, we'll start with the basics. Definition of commitment: the act of committing, the state of being committed, the act of committing, pledging, or engaging oneself. As a verb, committed, committing, to commit is to do, to perform, to perpetuate, to pledge oneself to a position on an issue or a question, to act or enact a word or bond, to attach or dedicate oneself, right? So we know what commitment is when we experience it, but we also know what a lack of commitment is when we recognize it. Definition of committed: being bound or obligated to a person or thing as by pledge or assurance. Devoted. You got to be a person, a man, or a woman of your word for your commitments to become realized, right? And this is something I learned in my own experience, a little bit painfully at times, but the only one who can make your words truthful is you. I'm the only one who can make my words be truthful, the words that are coming out, and then make sure my actions follow my words, that I'm not a walking contradiction, which I know what people think, but I know what I know. Praise God. Yeah, there's other types of committed as well. Being bound, locked up, because of this stupid game of authority we've got going on around us. Hey, and this was part of my inspiration today. Oops, how do I do that? I should have changed that a little. Just commit to not doing it. Paul Unslaved. That was one of his simple but wise suggestions regarding the practice of, how do I describe it? Unhealthy, unhelpful, and immoral choices, right? Commit to not doing it. If you know you're doing something stupid, like I was drinking myself stupid every day. If you know you're doing something stupid, make a commitment to yourself. Walk away from it. We'll get to some other stuff here. Commitment, why it's important. There can be no great success without great commitment. That was the thumbnail for today. Great quote. And it's just logic. Logic is what gives me confidence in my words. Logic is a powerful, powerful tool. Hey, God bless. I see Paul. Welcome, Abnorm. Talcott clip collection. Amen. I swear, I am such a fan, a nervous and apprehensive, but encouraging fan. Holy shiitake, Moose, God bless. Jay Gnosis does clips. Thank you, brother. Ennio Marciano, I am the Tao. Oh, wow. O'Shea was up on the panel in the back. I hadn't brought people up yet. There can be no great success without great commitment. Our why is what guides our choices and our behaviors. Our why reveals who we are, what we actually feel comes out through our why. So our intentions and our desires, those are so important to pay attention to have clarity on. Because the why is what will guide our choices and behavior. That's where it's important to know what you are committed to. Why are you committed to the choices you make? I touched on this. Our character is only as good as our words. Without a clear commitment on or a purpose, we make choices without thoughts of consequences. And what then happens is we end up repeating the choices without thinking, right? These human bodies, these human minds are really, really amazing as far as pattern recognition, pattern development. We are patterns of energy. It's amazing once you start to try and, well, you stop limiting your mind and you allow your mind to expand into what could be and what we are. And if you want to focus on spirit over material, well, then it starts to make more sense. Sorry, I got off on a tangent there. But the reason I did is because habits are very, very easy for humans to adapt, to pick up. And that's what creates the slave mindset of obedience. And so what happens is without a clear commitment on our purpose, without clear knowledge of what direction we want, what we want in a partner, what we want in a relationship, in a business, without a clear focus and a commitment to our why and what we want, we make these choices. We just settle for convenience or, momentary satisfaction. And then, we don't really think through consequences. And that's how the billionaires are made, man. That's how this whole economy thrives, is people not thinking and just choosing the same things over and over because that's what they hear repeated over and over. That's called media and advertising. We all know this stuff. Anyway, the point I'm making is without a clear purpose, we'll make a choice. And then through convenience or whatever, we'll just make the same choice over and over and over out of habit and creating a habit. We don't think until we stop and think. An honorable commitment allows honor to be realized. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. Good commitments help us achieve our goals. Christos, welcome, brother. There is a guest back here now, so I don't mean to keep you waiting. Almost time. Good commitments help us achieve our goals, keep ourselves accountable. It empowers our reliability. Bad commitments, obviously, they distract or disrupt our healthy relationships and our growth. Bad commitments hold us in patterns that we may have outgrown, right? That's where I was getting at. We make these choices and then just repeat out of convenience in our relationships, our jobs, or whatever. And just because something was good for us in the past does not mean it's good for us today. As I say that, the emphasis on my words is the government, the economics, the systems that we have that regulate and control everything. The choices of the past may not be the best choices for today or for the future. Chuck in Tennessee, God bless you, my brother. Thank you for the contribution. May God guide you through this life on your journey. Remember, to thine self be true, but for the grace of God, there go I. Chuck, amen. And these words are for everyone. I mean, Chuck, thank you for the generosity of the contribution and the words of inspiration. May they be well received. Bad commitments hold us in patterns that may have been outgrown, and then without reliability of commitments, trust is unavailable. How to make healthy commitments. Become honest. Honesty is the key to happiness, brothers and sisters. It's the key to inner peace. Honesty is the way. Through humility, find acceptance and opportunities for growth. You know, really look at your life, your social life, your physical life, your health of your lifestyle. Look at it with humility and look at it with optimism, with the mind of potential. Where can it grow into greater things? Imagine the success you want yourself to experience in the future. What do you want your life to allow you to experience? Not what can you achieve, what can you receive, who can you impress, none of that crap. What do you want to experience? And then become accountable to your words. Take actions, right? Once you know your why, then you figure out your how and what and choose the when as now unless God doesn't allow, but choose. It all happens now. How to break commitments. Identify the patterns and feelings with honesty. Look at the patterns of your life. Look at how you feel. What are the experiences and reactions that are being repeated in your experience? Recognize what aspects should be repaired, which ones are damaged, what should just be replaced. What is it? Is it time for new diet habits, new exercise habits, new plans on a new business, time for new goals? What direction do you want to go? And then replace the commitment, where you find room for change, where you find room for improvement, replace that commitment with the healthier options. I tried to bring in some Wes Watson there, man. Commitment is what transforms a promise into reality. Thank you for your patience, Christos. Welcome.
Hey, thank you, Jack. To what you were saying about, you brought up humility, happiness. You said a couple different words there, and I just wanted to point this out real quick. When you mentioned a couple of these words, it had me thinking of some other words real quick, kind of branching out. Words that start with the letter H. And yeah, there's a lot of words that start with the letter H, but I do think it's significant that the letter H is the beginning of words like home, heart, happiness, humility, honor. So there's this little element of word magic that we see with some things. But when you look at the H, the reason I say this, because you look at the capital H, it's like two pillars with a bridge in between, symbolically. And you think about some of these words, and maybe it's a reach, but it's good to get creative like this. these words in a way are bridges, honor, heart, humility. These are attributes that, they are bridges to the self and others. And I was just saying this with the letters because there is a certain esoteric significance to each letter, and the way it looks, or phonetically, the etymology of different words that rhyme. There's certain value when you dive into these perspectives. So I just wanted to present that real quick.
Brother, that was a very beautiful and interesting observation. Just it may have been last night. Golly geez, the days just and streams just run together. But recently I was on with Truther Cop, and in the chat, Provo Kid was talking about phenomics, something like that.
Phonetics.
Not phonetics, but it is along those lines. It was a different word, but it dealt with the enunciation and pronunciation of the letters and the sounds as I understood it. So I find it interesting that and then this comes up, and when you were bringing that up with the letter H and the offerings, home and heart, and the other warm, soft things that with the soft syllabled word, I don't know, dude. This life really, yeah, heaven is in there, holy, healing,
Yeah.
yeah, hell, even harmony. This being a human is pretty friggin' fascinating, dude. It's really friggin' cool.
It actually is, yes. When you can take that third person perspective, step outside of yourself and your personal experience, and just try to look at things with a novel kind of alien mindset, for lack of better words. The brain, the whole human biology. I totally understand what you are getting at with that. Yeah.
I've been doing it more and more, that practice of, well, picture I don't know the scriptural words from the Bible, but the message from Jesus was he was showing us the way, and his way through him, through that, he became one with the Father. And as I understand, as we follow his way, he and I become one, and he remains one with the Father. Therefore, the Father and I are one. He's like the
Intermediary.
thank you, intermediary. Yeah, for humanity. But so if you take that context, well, one with God, that means it's God having this experience with me, as me, for me, through me, right? And the more I kind of tried to really wrap my head around that I'm not the physical, I'm just the experience. I'm the observation of the experience. As I really started to wrap my head around that, man, it's what I do know to be true.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's very humbling when you really consider how little it is we control. Right? Our inter-automatic systems, the circulatory system, our digestive system, we don't control really the thoughts we receive or the feelings we feel. We can influence those things. We can influence our digestion and our circulation by our exercise, our habits, our food, meditation, health. Hey, brother.
Oh,
Brian O'Shea. Brian O'Shea calling in from the resort life, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm feeling good, Talcott. I feel like someone's rubbing my knees right now. I just want to give a big hold. I'm feeling God is good. See the palm trees behind me? Living like a doctor over there.
Living like a doctor.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Are you doing any gigs there in Vegas?
Not yet. Just been streaming. But now that you mention it, I should probably might look into an open mic tonight. See what's on the list. What you eating over there, Talcott?
It's one of the harmful choices I still allow myself.
Oh, the chewing tobacco.
Yeah.
I thought you were off camera when you're doing it. But you're not quite off camera there, buddy.
I move it so it's just not in the face, but it's not a real attractive habit. I understand that. And it grosses some people out.
What do you go with, Kodiak? What brand you got over there?
Oh no, the cheap stuff. It's called Longhorn. Yeah.
Ooh, Longhorn.
Yep. And you know, I realize I'm just a hypocrite because everywhere else I'm very picky about the food I buy and what I consume. I mean, even the cannabis, I try to make sure I get the stuff that's not loaded with pesticides and stuff. But here I am putting fucking deviled weed in my lip and all the chemicals they use to grow that. It's just foolishness.
Yeah, man. You don't want to get cancer of the jaw and not be able to speak, you know? You're going to be at the UN typing it in, your responses.
Hey, I said this before, and I know how it can sound, but I kind of surrendered to the possibilities of my purpose and my path. Okay. And so, well, I made the excuse couple of years ago that if no one else in this world was going to care for me, then I would stop caring for me as well. All I focus on is pleasing me, which later made more sense too. If you want to think about that, you know, I'm one with God. God is always with me. So if God created life for me, then wouldn't God want me to be happy? I think so. And so if God's with me as I live, then I spend my time trying to please myself. And I've got pretty high standards for myself already, as far as, you know, my generosity or when I'm willing to help other people, stuff like that. I'm pretty high standards for myself already. But I spend my time pleasing myself. Massage, meditation, stretch, a little light exercise now and then just to keep the body moving and the blood flowing. But most of the rest of the time, man, it is just fucking pleasure.
Someone needs to clip that. Talcott spends his time pleasing himself.
Well, Brian, it was my birthday. I came home, I wrote my mom a nasty note and came home, and I was prepared to go in the backyard and fucking make a mess.
Whoa.
And then I changed my mind. I started reading a book, something about alchemy. It's a spiritual book and alchemizing energies, and it inspired me. And that day I said, fuck it, I'm sick of feeling miserable again. I'm sick and tired of feeling bad. So that's what I said. And this is where the chew ties in. I committed myself to becoming a man more like Jesus, right? Becoming perfected. I focus mostly on my anger and my emotions more than my physical purity. I did go completely pure for a while, just raw food, natural, everything. But then I chose to, since I had time and nobody around, I picked up chewing again and added cannabis back and added caffeine. And, when the future lady, comes into my world, she'll help me raise my standards for myself again. I'll quit the chewing, I'll quit the coffee, and I'll try to become more perfected.
You spit that? You spit out? You spit? Swallow, huh? It's crazy, dude. It can't be too good for you. That means that you're like, the tolerance is high with that stuff. You don't even have to spit it out, huh?
I started when I was 15 in high school, and so I couldn't carry a cup around. I started learning how to swallow it all, and yeah,
There are a lot of people that do it like that.
the people I know, I think they do, but I don't know.
Is there added health risks to swallowing that shit?
Oh, I'm sure there is, dude. Tobacco is probably one of the most chemicalized crops we produced, from what I heard. I got a friend who said he spent time in or on the tobacco fields when he was a kid, and he said there's just chemicals everywhere. So I know I'm putting poison, but you know what? I learned this as a kid. No matter what you do in this world is fucking cancerous. There's chemicals in the air, in the food, in the water. There's plastics everywhere. There's artificial crap inside your body right now. And so I figured we can live lives of fear. Oh no, I can't do this and I can't do that, or everything in moderation. You do the best you can, and and you this is I'm getting worried. No, I love you guys, man.
Did you see the newest Talcott clip? Were you on the street? Were you on Paul's stream when he played it this morning?
I was.
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
I was. The Talcott arrested. I said in a comment on one of the clips, it's like the editing it's beautiful, and it's like we're watching a potential different reality in some parallel universe, some parallel timeline. That shit's happening. Dr. Phil, the sex therapist, getting arrested.
Right. Like in some timeline, you've been on Dr. Phil, you've been naked in a pool. People believe it is reality. Like this crazy world.
Well, I want to create the timeline. Actually, I want to create the timeline where I talk to Jordan Peterson and Donald Trump, probably too. I don't really want to talk to Joe Biden, but maybe someone who handles him. I don't know that he'd understand a conversation, to be honest. So,
who's your number one? Person you want to talk to the most?
Oh, I don't know, man. My son.
Yeah, to choose without really thinking about it.
My son. Yeah. After him, probably the entirety of the United States Congress. No, flip that. The first is I want to speak to the entirety of the U.S. Congress. And then after them, I want to talk to my son.
So how many people are in Congress?
Just under 600.
So you want them all in one room at one time, or do you want individual one-on-ones with them?
I think it'd be most helpful to get them all in one room at one time. And maybe not just with me, but a couple of other, accredited or credible authorities, teachers, professors, whatever, science, from the sciences.
Who would you choose as your dream team and walk in there with you?
Right now, me and Paul Enslaved. I think we could do it. But since we don't have the reputation, I'd probably want to bring in like Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden.
But I'm saying, push comes to shove, you got to choose who you get to bring in. You could bring in those people or Paul and Slave. This is your dream team. You get to bring these people in. Who are they? Who do you bring in?
It's not up to me to choose. I'm inviting everyone. Let's create this fucking opportunity. Let's have a conversation with the less than 600 people who administer the budget and the defense and the administration of the United States government. Let's talk to them. Let's find out why the fuck they're doing such a poor job. I think they could do better if they tried. They seem to be doing worse and trying to do worse. Are they not?
Congress?
Here's what I want to believe. The way I see it, the corruption of the United States government and the economic structures, it's one of two things. It's either created and enabled evil to rise with intention or through confusion. I want to offer that maybe the human species has been confused and that we don't actually need money or authority to tell us how to live together. I think we can find better ways to cohabitate Mother Earth. And I think the citizens of the United States government, you get those 600 people in a room and you lay out the truth. Look, this is the direction we're heading and it looks like shit. The direction we've been going, it's not acceptable. It's time for a change. And so the change we want is this way. And you explain why. Look, the future of humanity, going down in history is literally transforming the world. That'd be pretty cool fucking part. Have your name down in history as being a part of that, don't you think? Whoever finds a way to end legal secrets, there you go, brothers and sisters. Create your destiny in fucking history. Find a way to end legal secrets. As soon as you do that, wars and debts disappear. They would never be sustained if people knew the truth. If people knew the truth, there would be no wars and no economic debts.
Hey, Jack, let's say someone came up to you, right? And they're like, look, I know it sounds weird, Talcott, but we somehow managed to give, there's a possible opportunity to get all 600 of these congressmen, right? All you got to do is give another man a hand job. No? Turn it down? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, just a little fucking, I mean, you know what I mean? I don't know. I was just throwing the fucking shit out there. It's just like, you know what I mean? I don't know. You never know. I'm just wondering if they came. These people are weird. You always got to do something weird with these people before they give you an opportunity. You know what I mean?
No, I'm serious. I think God is with us. I think God is with these ideas. I actually believe that should this way and this path work, it would fulfill the prophecies that were recorded. What
if you were the receiver of a hand job from another man to be able to speak to all 600 in Congress with Paul enslaved? You know, it's like a massage. It's like rubbing your shoulder. What's the big deal? What's the difference? Your shoulder, your cock? know what I mean?
Are you offering?
I don't have Congress in my pocket. I wish I did, Talcott. That sounds exciting. Anyways.
Holy cow, man.
Sorry, man. I'm going through some sort of 5-session fucking thing. Anyways.
Hey, O'Shea. The topic tonight is commitment. I was going to ask you, what do you feel that you are committed to? But I want to go a different direction. I know you've found your way into comedy. How committed are you to that?
At this exact moment, I wouldn't say I'm all in. But what I am committed to, I feel like is I've been working hard on these streams the last few days. I've put in time like all day yesterday. I did my Twin Hearts meditation. I would like to be committed to that Twin Hearts. Like I've been doing it daily now. I don't know, the last few weeks, I think I missed a few days here and there. But it would be nice to do it daily or miss a day here and there. But I can have real nice consistency with my Twin Hearts meditation. Maybe my streaming, that seems to be going well. I've been getting donations. I've been getting more donations the last few days, like yesterday. Got most money I ever made. Today I got a donation. So that makes me feel real good. Today, Paul gave me a wrench on his stream. So it feels like something in this metaverse, like things are happening, you know what I mean? And it's a good feeling.
All right, Brian, can you trust that they are? And I don't know about this Two Hearts meditation, but I think I've heard it mentioned. It's beautiful and inspirational, right? Like the Heart Math Institute type thing. Is that where I heard it from? Was you, Christos? Two Hearts thing? You're muted.
Muted, Christos. Muted. You got long hair. Muted with long hair. You're high as fuck.
Yeah, I don't know why that happened. I'm not sure. I recognize it. I don't think you heard it from me. I was gonna ask Ryan though. Do you ever watch Troy Casey? Because I feel like I've heard it from someone out here. Maybe someone like Troy Casey or Paul Chek. Someone out here in like these holistic health, spirituality communities.
Well,
anyway, and I don't want to divert. Go ahead.
No, thank you. So the Twin Hearts, it's a meditation that you were sharing, Brian?
Yeah, I actually did it on my live stream last night. It starts off with a little workout before the meditation and after. And, but you mentioned some sort of institute, a heart institute. What heart institute did you mention?
The Heart Math Institute.
You're gonna pull it up.
Yeah. They do some pretty cool stuff regarding the studying our hearts and our minds. These I learned about these guys through Joe Dispenza.
What's the math aspect of it? Is it actually bring math into the situation?
Citizen Scientist Research Project, global network of tree monitoring. I don't know. Heart intelligence. Yeah, it measures your heart rate and your gives you, dude, this thing is kind of cool actually. It's got tools to help you understand how to meditate. I actually bought this little thing, a little gadget to measure your heart rate as you go through guided meditations, and it encourages positive thought. Whoops, wrong way. Where? What is going on? Oh, word. So this twin heart or two heart meditation, which way is it? Twin heart meditation. Without even knowing it, I love the idea. And where I was going with that, Brian, is I don't know all the details on how it works, but I know that it does work. The universe, there's laws of exchange that are given between the universe and ourselves. When you start putting value out into the world, brother, that's when the rewards come. The society has taught us the rules, but partially, right? Taught us hard work is the only way, and taken a lot of truth and fucking twisted it on us. So, brother, I want you to trust that, yes, things are aligning for you. Things are coming out just beautifully. You're seeing the difference already, right? So don't overlook that. Recognize and trust. That's the spirit. That's the universe conspiring to help you, to support you.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, I resonate. It's like when you're with the flow, when you're in the flow state. Yeah, it's like being in a river. You got to get the power of the river, helping to push you along, power of the universe. Sometimes in my meditations, actually, when I do the Twin Hearts, there's a section where you do deep abdominal breathing. And when I'm doing that, when I'm exhaling, I imagine that the universe is pulling the air out. Like I'm not really doing anything. I'm just a vessel, and the universe is pulling the air out. And then when I inhale, the universe is pushing it in. So I'm really not even doing anything. And that's a pretty cool experience. I was able to get to a samadhi experience through that type of focus. I don't know if you know what samadhi is. Where you feel a deep, like blissful oneness, connectedness to everything. It's like I had a mild version of that, or I don't know if it was mild or non-mild, but it's all pretty damn connected for a while. It was unexpected too. It's like I did the meditation 40 minutes to an hour. This was a few years ago, and then I went outside, and all of a sudden I just felt incredibly connected to everything. It was insanity, like just like a great.
So it's like the archetypal example of what one would call enlightenment, because obviously there's different forms. There's Satori. Right. Cool. Awesome. Dude, I know I brought this up before, Brian, but I like that you do this shit. I think it says a lot about someone,
Appreciate that, man.
I mean, someone can say it's just meditation, but
yeah,
I don't know. I think some people might get surprised at first. Maybe if they're just meeting you, if they were to hear that, you have these practices. So it's good. I don't know. It's just authentic. Yeah. Salutes.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, the meditation incorporates working out before and after it. So that's all you're getting out of it. It is a little double workout like that, or however many minutes it takes to do each workout. Like I end up doing push-ups, lunges, some shoulder shit usually, and some crunches. I don't know, man. I always feel good when I feel physically strong. It helps out. It helps your confidence when you look better, feel better. But
brother, what Christo said, absolutely. I encourage you as well, man. This is what I realized. It's no joke. The spirituality and inner peace, it's no joke. Take that shit seriously, because the way you feel creates what you do. What you allow yourself to do is guided by how you feel. So these practices of inner flow and surrender and release, I friggin' love it, Brian. And keep in mind too, when you reach that state, there's levels and levels to these. There's levels and levels to the truth. Okay, and so this state of samadhi or flow or whatever, recognize it, that there's depths to it. And what Christo said, there's many ways of breathing, many forms of meditation. There's so many ways we can learn this stuff. The point is, that's the goal, dude. You're supposed to go through your entire day and your entire life through this peace and connection to it all. We've been brainwashed. And it's up to us to cleanse the mind of all the bullshit, all the nonsense, all the unloving thoughts. Because, man, when you start purifying your mind and you feel this gratitude, just you need nothing because you're grateful. You know, I'm connected to all that is, all that ever was, all that will ever be is a part of me. I am part of that. And so if I can love being a part of all that, man, life is pretty cool, dude.
Yeah, it's funny you use those words cleansing and purification because that's part of the decree that you put the intention in before you start the meditation. Like I decree that my aura and my chakras will be cleansed and purified, and then you say I decree that my incarnated soul will be purified through the descent of spiritual energy. But yeah, there's also a section in there where it talks about people are not just talking about doing no. So you wish good wish that good and goodwill. People are acting on good and goodwill to people. And then you say people aren't. You imagine that people aren't just talking about doing good acts, but acting out that goodness. You know what I mean? So that's something that hits me hard. You know, it's not just we're not because that's in a lot of these communities there's a lot of talk, right? In spiritual shit, we talk and talk. But what's the action part of it? What's the doing part of it? What's the acting out of that goodness? You know what I mean?
That is where that's where my perspective, that's where the Christed spirit, the Christed mind comes in. The Christed mind, the pure essence of us, it's spontaneous, it's generous, it's loving, it's creative. And so the things I used to remind myself is, and I do, not used to, I often still do remind myself to become creative with my generosity and generous with my creativity. That's the spirit of you. Make sense? Generous and creative. If you go through your day trying to be creative in the ways you can be generous with other people, dude, you'll change lives. You'll make the day of others go better, and then you'll have the memories of doing good things, breaking old patterns, trying new stuff. And the new, when we do new, experience new, travel to new, when we do new does emerge.
Do you ever feel like sometimes like we need resistance in life, or that we need almost God puts external resistance upon us to shape our character and our wisdom and knowledge that we know and our beliefs?
Absolutely. I was listening to a video today. Trying to remember the creator. The Elect of God is the channel. And his topic today was about how God rebuilds his chosen ones. You know, and the message was, I myself went through several layers of the dark night of the soul. There's many people right now who are probably facing some uncertainty, some darkness, some challenge in their lives. So, yeah, of course, I believe God gives us resistance and darkness so that the light within us may become challenged, become refined, purified, strengthened. It's a test. It's a refinement, a purification process. Life is. I think we come here in the physical form until we mature and develop. And so as a child matures, as a man or woman develops, we gain self-control, control of the self, the primitive beast. And then when we ascend, when we understand and we're no longer under control of the primitive beast, the bodily form, then we understand the freedom of love. And I think when we understand the freedom of love, that's where God will allow us to move on into higher dimensional, more heavenly realms. But right now, this is duality. It's a vibrational frequency into this density of experience for us. It's all been created for us. All of Earth, everyone in history, and everyone else alive today has been created for us. Because we are the consciousness of God just experiencing form.
Hey, Jack, could I just say real quick? Did you say the elect of God? Is this a channel you were referencing? Because I
Yes.
feel like I might know this, so I'm gonna look that up real quick. And
Yeah.
please continue, or whoever else is gonna get it.
No
Because
worries.
it sounds like someone I know. It like unless there's someone else using that same terminology or phrasing. So
Here, I just dropped the link from his video I watched today in the chat, and then here in the private as well.
yo,
Maybe,
Jack, this is one of my buddies from high school.
is
I
it?
oh yeah, this is crazy. Oh wow, okay, cool. I won't go on too long about it, but yeah, I've known this guy since middle school and high school. He actually lives right by me.
No kidding.
Yeah. I remember he had made a YouTube channel, and people were telling me I had just reconnected with him. Like no more than within the year. I had a falling out with him at one point. But yeah, I've chopped it up with him since, and been with him a few times because we have mutual friends. That's super cool, Jack. Wow, that's so great to hear that you've run into this friend of mine. Wow.
Dude, I'm telling you, there's a resonance to our frequencies and our paths crossed, man. So that, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. I don't remember where I discovered him, and I haven't given him a lot of attention, but his videos, man, they're inspiring. And that young man has been touched, right, by God. That's what I hear.
Awesome. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Very cool, man.
Let's go hunted and
Yeah.
summon the enslaved one. What do we got to do? Say his name 3 times? Surprised he's not here.
He said he had things to take care of today, and he's been putting in the hours too. So I don't know. I always hope for him to join. He always brings something, that's for damn sure. But yeah, I don't know if Paul's gonna make it.
Would you kiss Paul if he wanted you to?
Probably not. Maybe on the cheek for sure.
On the cheek.
The lips, man, I'm not so sure about.
But what if it's like the cheek, like kind of touching the lip a little bit?
Brian, why? I
don't know where I've been going lately, dude. I'm probably more me than you, Talcott. I wouldn't worry about it. But
the commitment thing. The other thing I encourage everyone: commit yourself to growing. Grow your gratitude, grow your generosity, grow your kindness. But for me, the most important commitment I think can ever be made: commit yourself to the truth. Offer the truth no matter the consequences. Seek the truth no matter the consequences. And accept the truth no matter the consequences. Because the consequences of denying the truth, think about it. It's fucking insane. We have a world of insane people that believe they can deny the truth or they can withhold the truth. Truth is God. I'm pretty sure I mean, that can be explained in many different ways. So treat truth like God, like give it some care and attention. Maybe develop a relationship with yourself, commit yourself to knowing the truth of you. Maybe the truth of your experience, the truth of your relationship, the truth of your job. What is the truth?
Jack, have you ever looked into like mental illness, like the cause of schizophrenia and like depression? And I've wondered because I've seen it online in a couple of group chats I'm in, like schizophrenics, and I'm kind of there's a friend in real life that I'm starting to see like kind of correlation between like this behavior of this kind of godlike figure of like, people like to criticize you for being egotistic, but like schizophrenics it's a whole nother level of antisocial behavior. Like they think they're like some godlike person and they can never do wrong, and they don't accept that anything they do is failure. Have you looked into that at all a little bit? Or anybody that maybe you could guide me to or guide us to schizophrenia or mental illness?
As far as professionals, there's a number of things that came to mind when you mentioned that.
I think he's trying to sneak this week. Jeff.
At this time, I've heard a lot of spiritual explanations, and the cause I don't know, right? I mean, there could be a lot of different explanations, but I don't trust the mainstream medical quote unquote professionals, all their damn labels and diagnoses. The mental health community has been deceived by corrupted education systems. So, John, if you got someone who's suffering with voices, number one, I would certainly recommend meditation, conversation with someone you trust, that is trustable and trustworthy, someone confident that you feel confident with, and speak it out. Determine where the source of the voices is. Maybe there is multiple spirits directing, but in the end, what I believe is we each choose. We get to choose who we listen to and ignore outside of our bodies. So the same thing applies inside. It's learning how to focus the mind and receive that which is intended, and you choose what is intended for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just interesting because they just come up with these like outlandish like ideas of like, like they're like the chosen one and no one really recognizes them, and then they advocate just stupid shit.
Let me pause this real quick because I got a question for you, Talcott. Part of this meditation on the twin hearts, there's a section where you activate your heart chakra, and what you do is you recall a happy event, right? So it says, recall a happy event, take your time, re-experience the feelings of sweetness, tenderness, and love. So if you were to attempt, like if you had your hand, you put your hand in your heart chakra too, and you recall a happy event, what happy event, like say you were attempting to do the meditation, what happy event do you think you would think of, Talcott, to activate your heart chakra?
Right now, I would just bring myself into the presence of now and go through a mental expansion of gratitude, starting with the fact that I know I breathe. So since I know I breathe, I have knowing and I have a breath. And I know I have a breath because I have a body, and I know I have a body because I have health. I have awareness, and I know where my body is. I'm very comfortable, relaxed. I'm actually right now, because of the massage and the practices, seriously, I close my eyes and it is a state of nirvana and bliss that sometimes the fucking pleasure keeps me awake at night. I've got to
Clip
like
that.
detach.
That's a clip right there.
Do you feel like sometimes you get like pleasure from like dopamine rush, but like sometimes you can get like this, I don't know, you can call it eternal pleasure, but this kind of different calm as opposed to a chemical reaction within your body. Can you decipher between the two?
I can't.
No.
All
I
right,
can
hold up.
feel it. I can feel a calm, and I know part of my practice is I do focus in the back part of the brain where I guess a lot of the chemicals and stuff are created, and I practice experiencing, whether it's imagined or experienced. I practice experiencing pleasure in the mind. Okay, and when you focus your awareness within your body, within your mind, or wherever, you can feel and sense like a very soft sensation, a tingling, an awareness of that particular part. So if it's chemical or not, I don't know. But I do know that, yeah, I can like withdraw myself and expand, and it's like a stillness that's just beautiful.
All right, Talcott, if you were forced to think of an event from the past, like a happy event from the past, what event would you recall?
Holding my son.
At birth?
They're in the hospital. Yeah, changed my life.
See, there's a second one. So you do that to activate the heart chakra, and then you recall a second happy event to activate the crown. What if you were forced to recall a happy event from the past, the second one, what would it be?
I never really celebrated a lot of happy memories. I don't know. I'm just at
The
peace.
day you found out you're keeping your house.
Hold up, Vance.
Okay.
Just if you're forced to just grab something, dude. Grab something. You know, one of them. Just got to grab one more. Trust me, dude. Go ahead.
I can't think of one in particular, but I know I had many very wonderful days with Teresa. So I'll picture a time with her.
All right, choose one of them. Just grab one of them.
All right, got it. Yeah.
All right, what's going on? What's the situation?
Out on the lake on the boat.
Is Teresa your ex-wife, the mother of your child?
No.
Ex-girlfriend or something?
Yeah, she's a lady I dated for. It wasn't a healthy relationship, but we were together a couple of years.
She a black chick?
No.
Oh, my bad. I was just hoping for some reason. Anyways, so you were at a lake, and what was going on? My bad. You were at a lake, and what was going on?
On a lake, on the boat.
What are you guys doing on the boat?
Having sex.
Oh.
No, just enjoying the lake. Enjoying the day, the sun shining, beautiful day. Got some tunes.
What kind of boat? Like a rowboat or a yacht?
Nah. Little 20-foot Larson, 22-foot.
With a motor on it? You owned it or rented it?
Not mine, my buddy's boat.
Borrowed it for the day? Take Teresa out on it? It was already docked. You didn't have to like take the truck and wheel it in there. It was just sitting at the dock for you.
Actually, this moment I'm thinking of, I don't remember which lake it was. It was a big one, but for whatever reason, we dumped Sean off. He went and got the Jeep and the trailer.
Dumped them overboard.
And I think there was a line, so me and Teresa were just out in the boat for a couple hours by ourselves.
All right. But it's interesting how took a minute to come up with something, right? Sometimes I feel like there's something there with some people with a certain backgrounds, but we don't have to really go down that road. What's up, Dick?
Yo, Brian O'Shea, what's happening?
How are you, man? You look. What's your you trimmed your beard, right? Your mustache area.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mistake. I kind of did the Amish thing. I put the razor on the mustache, and I went too close, and then it was pretty much I had no mustache. And then I realized I didn't want to get rid of my beard altogether, so I went like, 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch on the rest of it, so I could keep some morning shadow and try to grow something back respectable. But now I'm just kind of in a weird, awkward place where I feel out of sorts. And thanks for pointing it out, Brian.
No, but when I noticed earlier, you look like super young, like some sort of happy adolescent or something.
Like a kid who was flunked a bunch of times and should be further along in his adolescent education, but he's still just figuring out the basics, Brian, how to add and subtract, put words together, form sentences, try to make sense of things.
Too funny.
I like where the conversation was going, though. I was just listening to the work you guys were doing. That was good shit. I was kind of doing it in my own mind as we, went along, and I really dig what you were talking about opening up the heart. And I've had more like heady stuff with my meditations where I felt like I got in the crown chakra and I was like above myself and it was buzzing and it was just a place of ecstasy. And I've reached that place a few times, but I haven't like specifically tried to work on the heart much. So maybe I need to.
Yeah, the heart
put some
is the
attention
emotional center, right? And then the crown is the divine. That deals with the divine. The heart deals with the emotion. So, and I would look at the heart as female, and I look at the heart as male. And the interesting thing is, they say the key. If the crown is the gate to heaven, then the heart would be the key. And so, in order to do work with the crown chakra, you got to first activate the emotional space. So you'll activate the heart and get that key in your hand, and then you could go to the gate. And when you open it, then all this spiritual energy flows in, I feel like. And then you take that spiritual energy and you bless the earth and everyone on it. So you're giving something. There's like a doing aspect to it, which you could then receive, which is the law, right? In order to receive, you must give. I think that's the law. So, which could sound selfish, like, oh, I'm going to bless the earth because I want to receive good things and have good luck. But no, it's like if you're actually trying to do that, bless the earth with certain blessings. It's saying and really feeling it. There's a power because at least the energy is coming through you. At least, at the very least, you're getting something from it. But I don't know, man. I think there might be something to it.
Yeah, I think that's the case with all giving. I mean, I've heard people say with the biblical scripture, if you give, you'll receive, but that you shouldn't do it per se with that intention because you don't want to have that type of, I guess, just
virtue signaling.
Yeah, is that what it is, or that you're
Yeah,
trying to get
that's
something out of it when
it's like a desire.
It's supposed to come from a pure place, right? You're supposed to freely give. There's not supposed to be attachments, or it isn't really giving, is it? If you give it, but you have these expectations tied to it, aren't you kind of polluting even what giving is? But yet there is also this absolute certainty that by giving you do receive. So it's just kind of it's built.
I was just going to say it's the paradox. It's just the paradox there that gets reconciled. It's just.
But when you activate that crown, that heart chakra, that emotional space, that motherly, loving space, and if you actually feel it, because first you got to feel these things in yourself to be able to give it away, right? You have to have it to give it away, right? So when you feel it, though, you really genuinely then want to attempt to give it. You want to give it because you could feel this shit. You're like, damn, I want other people to feel what I'm feeling right now. You know that other people are going through shit. The whole world's in a certain way. So you're attempting. You imagine a small earth in front of you. You put your hands up. And you imagine like it coming out of your heart, going through your arms, going to your hands, and going to the earth in front of you. You imagine like a little earth and everyone on it. And then you'll start feeling charged up. You know what I mean? You'll feel it, and that's why you got to work out too to manage that powerful energy you'll start feeling. Work out before and after. So
I love what you're saying. I mean, this is where I've come to logically. I've come to this logical conclusion that what you're sharing, that's our purpose of being. We are here to receive the light of the Creator, the light of love and creation, and to be transmitters and to offer it to the world in our own unique and creative ways, from the unique and different place and perspective that the designer God has placed us. And so if that is our purpose, if I mean, this is where I'm thinking, if there is no separation from me and God, God is with me, my will is that which God wills when it is pure and loving, well, I'm here to do the will of God, not my will, not Jack's will. Jax doesn't mean shit. He's ignorant and foolish. He tried to run his life for the first 40 years and it was pretty fucking stupid. So from here on, I just want the Spirit of Christ to lead me, right? Follow what I believe is pure and wholesome and truthful. And then I'll try and be, and that's actually my prayer. I no longer pray for things to come. I pray to God that I might be worthy. I may become worthy in God's eyes for that which I've already received, because I am abundant. I need for nothing, and I have so much to offer. So I think.
I'm going to read this real quick, Talcott, if you don't mind. Emotional intelligence. This is one of the benefits of the meditation on Twin Heart. Emotional intelligence is being aware of and handling emotions competently. Today, more importance is given to the emotional quotient than to the intelligence quotient. Awareness of feelings of self and others and the ability to handle one's feelings effectively are a great asset. Clever people become stupid when they are unable to think when under the grip of strong emotions. The meditation for peace is as much them orientated as it is I orientated. The awareness and sensitivity which develop through regular practice helps enormously in relationships. This, coupled with the technique of blessing others with good things in life that one personally desires, increases one's competence in relating effectively. Emotional equilibrium is a great asset which benefits people in all walks of life.
I love that, Brian. Where was that from?
It's part of it's on the page here from Chronic Healing. I'll put it in the private chat. It's called if you just search Twin Hearts Meditation, then it'll come up. The website is thechronichealers.com, and it says, what is the meditation on Twin Hearts? And towards the end, there's a section that says further benefits for professionals and executives. So that'd be you, Talcott. Professional and an executive. So one of the things that helps is stress. They talk about that. Effective team building. Whoa. All right, I'll read this one because you're all about team building, I feel like, Talcott. Let's just read this real quick, see what it says. In a meditation for peace, the meditator experiences feelings of kindness and love. When in this state of parasympathetic arousal, the physiological opposite of fight or flight. Wait, let me read that again. When in this state of parasympathetic arousal, the physiological opposite of fight or flight, the set of responses generate a feeling of calmness and confidence, facilitating cooperation. Instead of hostility, anger, and suspicion, the interaction with the group and others is from a feeling of well-being and contentment. Wow, that was a mouthful, huh?
Did you say that was full on? Did you say full on?
Wait, I don't think I did. Instead of hostility and anger and suspicion, the interaction with the group and others is from a feeling of well-being and contentment.
Never mind. I thought you said that was full on. Like, wow, that was some real shit type expression. Never mind. I just misheard.
Hey, let me jump in here. Chuck, God bless you. You actually, I was wondering in the back of my mind, where should we go with this and how long should we run? Appreciate the contribution and encouragement. I agree. These are great discussions, and Brian, that what you were just sharing, it's all about connection. It's all about establishing our connection with each other and the all that is, with the divine, with the pure. And this power of the heart, man, I've done a lot of different meditations, praying for cleansing, generational cleansing. I've went a number of different directions because my life was falling apart. I didn't know what the fuck to pray for, man. Just please help me. So I went through a lot of those cleansings and askings of forgiveness. The main thing it really is coming to peace with who we are today. That's the whole purpose of the religions and the practice of meditation and all these philosophies. The shadow work. Something I was totally taking the conversation slightly different, but earlier today, the topic of commitment. And earlier today, I was part of a coaching call, and there was a lot of coaches talking to. God bless Niall, you're funny. Don't listen to Chuck. Stop the show now. Thank you for the contribution and suggestion. It's under consideration.
You guys should fight each other with super chats. Just keep throwing Jack more money to try to convince him one way or the other. Let's see where he ends up.
No, there's greater causes, and I'm going to do what I want anyway, regardless of contributions. So
I was just trying to help grease the wheel, Jack.
No, much love. I appreciate it. But what I was saying, though, is a lot of people face a fear of freedom. A fear of freedom. As crazy as that sounds, with freedom comes the responsibility, the accountability, the commitment to be responsible and accountable. And this is where that excuses and blame. We keep making excuses and blame because we are afraid of being free. As long as we're able to blame and make excuses, then we can say, oh, poor me, I don't have a choice. My choices are limited. So what it really is, the fear of freedom comes from the comfort of this illusion of control, right? We create a comfort zone for ourselves with our routines, our jobs, our careers. Create a comfort zone, and it becomes a prison for us because it's easier just to obey and do what people say rather than to become responsible and and own it. Holy cows, you guys are amazing. Chili's Jules and Sly Shy even. Praise be. Thank you, sister. Great stuff.
Could you also factor in the law of conservation, that people also they want to conserve their energy because it takes more energy to go against the grain, I guess you can say, or building a different path.
That's a good point.
So therefore, you naturally want to conserve because I guess it has something to do with our dense 3D reality. Whereas, something will call us, whatever that may be, an intuition, you can call it, to do something else. And that would be pretty difficult. And I guess this is maybe where the resistance comes in, where you have the law of conservation and the law of freedom, you could say, or free will, or practicing your free will.
Man, why you sound like an alien with a cold right now?
That's just, I don't know. That's where I am today. This is my energy today.
Basically what he is, right?
Well,
Those are what he looks
Yeah, I just came out of the aquarium, and it's no, I'm just kidding.
well,
like. What's an aquarium?
it sounds a little bit different today, maybe slightly congested or something, but yes, this we get committed to what we know, and there's like a fear and a resistance to the change, the idea of change. One of the things, though, the commitment that I encourage, shadow work, right? It's a concept and a term that's used a lot more and more commonly these days. But the shadow work is just simply a self-examination, looking at yourself and the patterns of your life that maybe you haven't, maybe they've just kind of faded away in your awareness. You're not noticing you're doing the same things you used to do. But this shadow work is important because we'll not only hide our darkness from others, but oftentimes we'll hide our light from others. Brian, as I'm saying this, I'm wondering about you. I don't want to presume or assume, never mind. But I know in my own experience, my fear of being seen, my fear of standing out, of being noticed, fucking held me back. I used to be so afraid to be noticed. And I had to grow. I've grown a lot, man. Even this would be super, super intimidating to me a few years ago. But one of the coaching calls earlier was about a woman who and her voice, right? As a child, her and her sister were both talented singers. She ended up gaining more notoriety, more recognition for her voice, and she felt bad because she outshined someone she cared for. Now, in her own growth, she never identified that, but she withheld herself from her talents because she was afraid of outshining others. So I think some of us may have that within us, this fear of not wanting to overshadow or outshine or do well enough that others may feel bad. I think we all may have some of this brainwashing inside of us. We're here
fear
to
of being
shine.
authentic too. There's things you feel compelled to do. Even just the whole plates thing. I was talking about that on my last broadcast. It's like I'm afraid to drive without plates. I don't want to have the confrontation. I don't want to deal with these fucking assholes. I've had enough unsolicited, unwarranted conversations with policy enforcement officers that have, the situation has not gone well for me and ended up being quite uncomfortable. And so the idea of just going out and trying to actually exercise a right, which I know it's a right. I've proved that for myself. I've seen it in writing what the Supreme Court has said, and that, right to travel is a fundamental constitutional right. It's not even like it's gray area. It should be across the board. The police should recognize it. The court should recognize it. Everybody should be on the same page. But because they're not, you have this like compelling desire to force the issues. And I've always had that kind of combative spirit anyway, where it seems like no matter what conversation I get into, I'm all of a sudden at odds with somebody and we're nipping at each other's heels. And it's just something about my personality that can stir people up a little bit, ruffle their feathers. So when I get into interactions with officers, even if I'm trying to be the most copacetic, amicable person possible, it seems like they're always wanting to stick it to me somehow, and it's like, so I imagine it could go badly for me, but this is all in my head of why I shouldn't do it. And it's cowardly thinking. I'm just kind of exposing it for you all so you can see it's like this idea of being authentic. And there's a number of places in my life like that where I'm really trying to step up and say, if I'm afraid of it, that's why I have to do it. It sucks because I don't want to do it because that's why I want to make excuses. And so I have to go through it and put myself in that situation to overcome, you know, my own insecurity. And I put myself in that situation now because I'm actually, you know, not willing to. So now I got this, I'm at odds with myself to some level. Someone like Yurt may say, it's no big deal, dude. You don't even worry about it. You do so many other things in your life to stand for rights and freedoms, or you're raising your family. You're putting all your energy into this. But I got something strong in my heart that says, you know, I want to represent and fully embody what I want my kids to know. And even if it ends up me getting my fucking face beat in or something, I guess the bigger picture would be worth it to know that they had a dad that actually stood for something and was, you know, willing to try to bridge the gap and make a difference for this world for them and try to get over those fears. So maybe it's just something, you know, I'm dealing with, but I press people where I think they're a contradiction. And I hear a lot of people talk about, you know, self-awareness and trying to grow. But I think a lot of people maybe are compelled to grow in the easy places, not necessarily where it's really the rubber meets the road, where it's fucking hard, you know, like this monogamy shit is another one, right? I mean, it's triggering. Fucking pisses you off. You've been raised a certain way. You have these mindsets. And I also think there is hypocrisy on it on all ends. I mean, what I'm coming to the conclusion is there is no monogamy. There is no polyamory. None of these fucking terms exist. So to be my authentic self is to say I'm not in any contracts with any of these things. I'm an honorable man, and I'm going to do what's good, right, and true, and I'm going to take every moment as it comes and do it with the highest intention. And if I don't, I'm going to pay the price. I'm going to have to deal with those consequences. And that's really what it comes down to.
If you were to try to go down the road of facing that fear of this monogamy thing, you would start with a conversation with your wife?
Oh, I've already faced it. I mean, we've been through all of those different dynamics. You know, it was me that put her through that because I wanted to be polyamorous. I wanted to be not polyamorous, sorry, polygynous, which means she could not be with someone else, right? But I realized the hypocrisy in that. And we had a period where I said polyamorous because that was wrong to me. It's like, it's got to be good for the goose, good for the gander. You can't operate that way.
Well,
I realized in my own ego, that's not what I want. And it's never what my wife wanted. So for me to go to a polygyny type of mindset, I do see a hypocritical aspect to it, that it's like, well, you know,
well, men and women are different sexually, though. Like
sure.
women, they you know, when they are doing like one night stands, they have a more of an emotional attachment to their partner than the man does. The man is biologically motivated to spread his seed, whereas the woman is biologically motivated to find a partner who will provide for them. So
see,
I wouldn't feel too guilty about.
I find this generalization to be frankly irrelevant because we're all spiritual beings here to rise above the beastly behavior. And Dick, I love what you were sharing about, you know, being authentic and kind of putting yourself in that position of what do I want to choose? What am I committed to? What are my principles? What are my values? And I totally get what you're saying. Part of life, part of maturity, I think, is knowing when to engage, when to create the battle, stand up and fight for the principle, and when to, you know, abide, comply, walk away and fight another day. I was sharing my own thing the other day, Dick. I'm at this point where my tabs are now expired. So until now that I've been, you know, just kind of never really considered it.
I remember you saying that.
Paying it.
It was kind of something that was coming up and you hadn't renewed it. So, because someone was cornering you on that whole issue.
Well, the idea is my goal. I'm committed. I'm committed to my goals, and my goals are to rewrite the damn corrupt rules of this land. And so I'll play along their silly little games, and I may renew my tabs, and I may even pay that damn tag so I can go off in the wilderness around here. They fucking ticket you left and right if you go into the nature without a tag.
But I want to address this with what Brian was asking about monogamy. So just want to make sure I say exactly what I want to say here. So when I went through this was before we got married. And when we actually went through this part of our relationship, there was a part of me that was just a whore, basically. And I just wanted to fuck other women. So, you know, if you think that's just normal, that you just want to go be with a bunch of women, in hindsight, I don't actually think that's the case. I think it's kind of perversion. Like, I don't like the person that I was in that space, and I don't want to become that again. I'm thankful for what I have. People can say that's pussification down in the chat and say, you know, you need to get out of this mindset and be willing to be open to all these other relationships. I don't want to open myself up that way. And to your point, Brian, I did sit down with my wife. She's heard these conversations. She's heard all this. We sat down, had a conversation. I asked her directly, would you be interested in any kind of relationship like that was polyamorous? She has no interest in that. She never has. She's never wanted that. She's always wanted to be with me. She initially said early on, the main thing is I don't want you to be a cheater, and I don't want you to be with other women. So that's what caused me to force the issue, because I knew I would just be a liar and a cheat if I didn't make it an open relationship at some level. I went through that phase. I grew, and I came to a point where I said, this is irresponsible. We're going to have children now. I don't want to have other women involved in my relationship. So I would have to commit to the family. Now, if there was some perfect, I guess, situation where we were going to explore polygyny and my wife was comfortable with the other person, because I think it's a all-encompassing scenario. Everyone has to be on the same page. So I'm not just going to bring someone in with reckless regard, right? It's not just a sexual thing. It's not just a emotional thing or an experience. Someone could say, yeah, it is, but I don't look at it that way when you have a family. You're bringing so many variables into your family that could affect other people, including the children and your partner, that I think it's entirely irresponsible to not consider that as well. Now, if you think that's oppression, I get where you're coming from, but I just genuinely don't see it that day to day. Like, I don't feel like I'm missing anything, or that I need to go explore all this sexuality in me that is being oppressed or something. I feel like quite the opposite. Like, I'm having the most nurturing, strongest, and see, this is where they're going to say I'm saucy and you're such a fucking weak, soft guy, but I have like this amazing, loving, trusting relationship with great communication that I wanted my whole life. And I've gotten that through getting my eyes off other women and trying to focus on all this other shit and just focusing on my family and what matters. And so that's just my testimony with it. If that makes me weak or soft or something, it's like I'm a better man than I ever have been because of those choices, and I wouldn't want to pollute that for anything.
Welcome, Paul. So like if you have the conversation and she says she's not interested, but then what if you say, like, well, how would you feel if I was interested?
She said, no, that's ridiculous. I don't want to go outside of the relationship.
But I'm saying, like, on your end, what if you said
your inner space is the bottom line?
What's that?
She dictates your inner space is the bottom line.
How so?
Because you just said if you chose to go outside the relationship and share time, energy, attention with another woman, she's out the door.
No, not at all. She has stayed with me when I have made it clear that, and I was being an asshole about it, that I would be with other women, and if she was with another man, I would leave. I said, it's good for the goose, but not for the gander, baby. I'm going to be with other women. And if you like me, you're going to stay. And she stayed. And
So, like, I don't get it, Dick. Why
the whole time she never complained. She never gave me 1 ounce of shit. She let me go out on the road, do whatever I want. All the mystery of what I would have been doing or what I could have been doing.
Why does this always come up over and over for you? Like, if you're happy in your relationship, you don't want to explore outside the relationship. You feel like you've already done that. She's been accepting. Why does it keep coming up over and over for you as a topic of conversation?
Well, the main issue I had was you kept characterizing polyamory as healthy, and I don't see it in nature, Paul. I don't see that actually happens in a way, in any kind of healthy form. And I think in families, I don't see any examples of it. So from that standpoint, I just feel like you're promoting something that doesn't work out in a practical sense, day-to-day living scenario, especially for raising kids. So I think it's dangerous in that sense.
So, like, we're doing the same thing.
You don't have a working example of it.
We do the same thing we're doing with the meat eating argument. You also
attack other people who have working examples that I think are healthy and actually
I don't see a working example. I don't see a working example. I see the same criteria, pigeonholed idea of what working example means for meat eating and monogamy and the rest of it. Just because it's been going on for the longest time and there doesn't seem to be any consequences you can apprehend doesn't mean it's a working example. The village and the community has been destroyed by monogamy, like it or not.
Well, I wouldn't put the blame on monogamy. That's one aspect of many, 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 many factors. But I think the choice of relationships and, you know, what level that's expanded, that's an adult choice by adults, free to explore and live how they want. But it's got to be with honesty and, I believe, commitment.
But I don't see how...
I mean, the reason it keeps coming up, of course, is you do take attacks directly at monogamy, and
no, I don't take attacks at monogamy.
Of course
I take attacks. I take it.
You grind on the egos of anyone who's monogamous,
right? So but why is it grinding?
Any one of us that
ego?
Are listening to you, we look at it and we say,
why is it grinding on the ego?
If you're secure,
if you're secure in your position and you have the life experience, nobody can grind on my ego with what I know to be true and not true.
Well, so great. You're infallible to that. You're impenetrable, and you're a warrior of you know, no weakness. But I mean, for those of us that are looking at ourselves,
I just don't take on positions and then defend them to the death that are not able to be held in common sense.
And even if it doesn't actually affect my ego, it doesn't mean that you're not attempting to grind on all our egos. And so for someone to have a suitable defense,
does it grind on everyone's ego when I talk rights, freedom,
what they're doing actually is intelligent and is well thought out.
Monogamy causes men to lose sight of rights, freedom.
So someone needs to call you on bullshit, actually, Paul.
Monogamy in society causes men to lose sight of rights, freedom.
Somebody's got to point out the fact that the polyamorous type of lifestyle that you espouse, there's not a working example of it, and even you yourself,
how do you say that? You say the same thing about eating vegetables and fruit
because it's actually polygyny that you're.
He's just going to filibuster now about what doesn't exist. We heard this
already.
You're not even promoting polyamory in its true state. That's not what it is. You know, polyamory is
right. I'm not promoting monogamy or polyamory. You are.
No, I'm not.
You're promoting and defending and attacking. I'm saying that I'm saying the original community, as far as I know, is on record as polyamorous.
It doesn't matter.
So how you can say that this model means that completely defunct at this
point. So that means that when the woman wants to go outside of the relationship, she's going to have to communicate that to you. Otherwise,
right, and I'm saying typically what you
otherwise it would be cheating.
Typically, I didn't say that anybody should not be communicative. What I said was typically you don't find women wanting to go outside the relationship. It's more of a male tendency.
You say that, but you can go on TikTok right now and see a ton of different, you know, endless barrage of women essentially riding the carousel.
You're characterizing now all men and women as all men and women, and I don't.
For all women.
I didn't try to
women that might want to explore outside of the relationship.
I didn't try to. Why does everything have to be a black and white? Like it's
because if they can't, if the woman can't be free to do that, then it's not polyamory. So it's not the textbook definition of what you're promoting.
Can we end?
Why are you creating a this versus that dynamic with everything? Why?
Please.
Because it's an honest inquiry into what you're promoting, Paul.
You're not inquiring. You didn't ask any questions.
Please take a break. Holy crap. I mean, the entire this whole dispute of monogamy versus polyamorous or polygamy or whatever, it can be resolved in very simple conclusions. Committed. If you're going to commit yourself, tell yourself in a relationship, whether it's friendship, business, sexual, whatever, if you're going to be in a relationship, be honest with each other.
Honorable.
Question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cuck from Tennessee. Let's get back to the one place we're going to grind everybody's ego again. What a man is and the principles he's judged by. If you don't stand for rights, freedom, and principles, how could you tell me about dedication, commitment, will, and discipline on any level, especially with a family? It's laughable.
Oh, bullshit.
There you go. Cuck in Tennessee now is going to double down on this male low value. This is why these communities develop.
Not just the man, Paul.
This is why these communities develop.
The holes in what you're saying, though, that have been poked out so many times, and it's so obvious. If you're saying that the woman is not with the same autonomy that you are, that the goofy broad's going to have to find a man that can pay for it. So it's not an open relationship polyamory. That's not what you're actually promoting, is it, Paul?
I don't promote anything because I'm
not. You say polyamory all the time, and you use that word to define.
Why are you talking over me every time I go to answer with your honest inquiry?
Paul, you said the reason you do the downfall of society, so you're clearly taking a position.
Just hold your feet to the fire.
I'm taking a position based on what I see as the old way versus the new way.
We don't
the original
know
way and the
way
old
other
way.
Than
there's no old way or new way.
This guy says we don't
and you
see
should
the
know
nature.
that, Paul. There's no old way or new way.
It's a completely fraudulent position. We absolutely see polyamory ubiquitously in nature. Are you kidding? It's a group mammalian dynamic in most of these animals. Where do you get your logic and your information?
Polyamory goes both ways. So you have the
you're taking the animalistic view.
Polygyny and polyandry. That's what you see in nature. Polygyny and polyandry. And 94% of the relationships are going to be polygyny. There are polyandrous relationships like the bumblebees. So you want to play
semantic games.
Birds
define the terms if we're
but there's chimpanzees and gorillas that are monogamous. So, I mean, you see all expressions in nature.
Right.
Which was my initial argument in the first place.
At the end of the day, each being has
it's a choice. It's called free will.
Exactly. Right. And I said that, and that's what I promote ultimately. So where is our difference?
So I have working examples of what I do. You don't have any
having a lifestyle that confuses you and gets you triggered so much so you talk about what we talk about when I'm not here in a subliminal way because you're triggered by it. I'm not.
Hey, right? Paul,
you talk about it all the time.
I just come
I'm
here
having the same conversation. You're here. We can have it together. We can have it apart.
Yep.
We can do it any way that our prerogative guides us and leads us to. Why am I not open to have that conversation with other people in the community and hear their perspectives outside of you being, the only one sucking up the energy?
So we have to make this about Jack right now. Apparently, we can't even have it back and forth because A, you won't let it happen, and B, he's not going to let it happen either. So,
can I ask a question of either anybody on the panel? I'm just curious.
Ask a question to figure out, with everyone, how the community and village has been destroyed by people pair bonding and going into one house with two people and one child.
No, it's being honorable to honor your commitment that you made.
Right. The thing is, Cuck in Tennessee.
Not animalistic like you. You got an animalistic mind. We're not animals.
Why are you muting me, Jack, and going full screen on yourself? What is that?
You can't figure it out?
Yeah, tantruming behavior. We can't have it back and forth.
What the fuck are you doing? You grown child?
Back and forth.
Over talking to everybody, you asshole.
We were having reasonable conversations and actually had some encouragement and nice feedback about the conversations. You're coming in here playing your goddamn bullshit. Like you're
what
a bull
bullshit am I playing?
Amen. 100%, Jack.
Why are you trying to control me, Jack? I don't do that to you when you come on my panel, do I?
Why are you showing no respect to me? I sat fucking quiet for goddamn hours on your panel again today.
I didn't tell you you had to sit.
Right.
I didn't tell you had
fucking respect when it's shown.
So you think respect? So you think
this ain't Paul Unslave show? This ain't the Paul Unslave show.
So if I show up and I have an opinion or perspective, I'm going to be controlled and expected to stay silent because you did earlier?
No, you can show some fucking respect when it's obvious that I'm trying to become a part of the conversation. You can recognize that you were repeatedly asked to back up and settle down.
So you asked me repeatedly to back up and settle down? I don't remember that.
Not those words, but if you can't.
Yeah, you didn't say anything. You sat there with a passive-aggressive look and zoomed in on yourself.
Well, let me fucking make it clear now, Paul.
So keep it real.
Back up and sit down.
Now you're asking me like a man. Now maybe I'll back.
Let's see when you start.
Don't fucking mute me when you know I have the keys. It's foolish.
Good Lord.
We don't need to do that. We could just reconcile as men. We don't have to take control over each other.
I would love to reconcile as men, but I'm seeing a grown child again.
So ask me to back the fuck off so you can get into the conversation like you said you did when you didn't, liar. Right.
Hey, fair enough. Please forgive me if I misspoke. I'm telling you very clearly, I don't want this argument of polygamy and monogamy when it doesn't have shit to do with self-improvement, nor, well, your argument actually kind of pushes us away from the topic of commitment, committing oneself to a healthy relationship, whether it's with oneself, with the creator, with a partner, or with a friend.
And I agree. And I think my position actually promotes that idea. So now would you like to have a discussion on how we differ?
It's called being honorable to your commitment. You're going to just
keep repeating, okay? Cuck in Tennessee. So you
don't even have
any value to bring forward.
Oh, come on. Give me a break.
Hey, Chuck, hold on, please.
Okay. I'm back off, Jack.
I brought the negative energy, the confrontation. I don't want to continue that because I started it. Please let me address that and we can break it. All right.
It was a good conversation.
Hey, it's going to continue to be a good conversation because we're all men who are committed to what is true.
Amen.
We all care and we all, you know, we all got a lot to offer each other. I think we can.
It seems like an appropriate topic, though. I mean, we are talking about commitment, though, right? So, I mean, it fits right in with that.
It is.
Exactly.
So let me not put all the blame either on Paul, Dick. Okay, you're fucking
blame me. I brought it up.
Your engagement was not helpful. Okay. It is a good conversation to have because there are different perspectives. You guys both bring some pretty wise observations and experiences to this. So, golly geez, here you go. I got fucking triggered again, and here I am. I'm the one who's supposed to be the one who understands this shit. So, lesson learned. I'm an example of hopefully growth.
I'm just curious to know what are the benefits and what are the downfalls of either one of the ideas, whether monogamy or polyamory or polygamy. What are the benefits of and what are the downfalls? That's my curiosity.
Polyandry, I don't think is natural for a man. Polygyny is a natural expression for a man. That's why 94% of what you see in nature is polygyny. Monogamy is a natural expression in nature. Polyamory you don't see anywhere. So that's why.
Okay, but what
perverted humans
from polygamy?
So basically just defending his position with no actual facts and no clarity. Great job.
I'm just
where
curious.
Do you see animals where the women,
you didn't even define the terms
where
yet,
do you see animals or beings or bugs or anything where the women and the men both
Hey, so can I ask you a question?
Openly with
can I ask you a really
gender.
silly question? If we don't see it anywhere in nature, why do we see it with humans? The most common thing in a relationship is infidelity, as they call it, which actually isn't infidelity because there's supposed to be faith in truth and in the creation. And then there's the idea of faith in someone else when the book says, put no faith in earthly man and woman for whom there is no salvation. So being faithful is actually about being honorable, as Cuck in Tennessee says, which means being truthful to oneself. So it isn't a man's nature.
I'd appreciate it if you said my name
a
right.
very small percentage of humans.
names.
I don't model myself after what, a very small percentage of people choose to do. I model myself.
So now
after
it's
what
a small
my
percentage?
gut and my conscience. Yes, it is. I mean, the reality, you're saying that actually cheat. Okay, that's different. But that embody a polyamorous relationship, that's different. That would be honesty, communication. That we don't see everywhere.
So what's the difference between polyamory and then the sexual aspect? What's the difference between sharing love with multiple beings and bring it to a sexual arena?
That's an animalistic view. We're not animals.
That's fine. I understand that you believe that we don't
difference.
have an animal component, but here's the skin, very much like they say the pig skin, and it's covered in hair. So could you explain how you think there's not an animal component to humanity, at least an animal body?
If we live
that's the lowest level of living.
Chuck,
right. Did I say that we should go around rooted in the animal body at all times, or did I say we should reconcile the spirit with the animal body?
Yes. The spirit is generous. The spirit is loving. It's uniting. It unites.
Right. Not everybody sees sexuality as a threat. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you, but you might meet some women sometimes who and there's a fine line, but you might meet some women sometimes who are very loving people and they don't view sexuality as a threatening construct that has to be controlled and dominated and be neurotic and insecure and fearful about. So they just see sexuality sometimes as a way to express one's connection or one's love with another self and then go on with their day in their life. Now, I'm not saying I even promote that. I'm just saying, why is it all you monogamy boys promote an insecure, fearful, domineering, controlling, unhealthy, dysfunctional, dishonoring to nature, divisive?
You're the one that's insecure. You don't have a working example. You're the one that's taking attacks at other people's choices in their life.
So according to you, all day, every day, would you like to bring women up here? Would you like to bring women up here and ask them how often they deal with men who either cheat in the mind, heart, or in physicality, and then ask how much of a small percentage it is?
Right. So if they had a polyamorous relationship, they wouldn't do that. They would communicate, and it would be good for the goose, good for the gander. Both would be held to the same
What
standard.
makes you think I'm saying good for the goose is not good for the gander? What makes you think I'm saying that and then not going the next level? Typically, see, you want it all one way. Typically, we see men being polyamorous, or as you say,
you're telling me women don't do something that they do all day long. You're telling me women don't cheat.
I didn't say all.
Women
I said
don't go across the pond
watch
to
the
go
words, watch the bouncing ball.
Experience something new and exciting. You're acting like women don't do exactly what men do. They may do it for different reasons.
This is why Jack's going to now have to get in between us, because you go up on the mic and you start getting louder and you start hyper-focusing and not letting me finish.
Saying.
I was speaking and you cut me off, and I'm letting you speak when you speak.
Well, we both have a tendency of doing that. We're both good.
Well, I'm trying not to do that in this moment, and you're doing what you've been doing that caused us a problem earlier.
You're doing the same thing, Paul.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You're so full of shit.
He's so focused like you on defending his position and being right. We can't even get to whether it's true or not.
You don't know what love is.
I said typically.
Discussing a topic that is a lot of people have thoughts about and that have feelings around and that have understandings and misunderstandings, but it's just a childish way of doing it. Like men would give a man a chance to speak, let him finish, and give another man a chance to speak and go back and forth respectfully. This is just childish. That's all I can say.
So
amen.
Thanks, Lou.
So typically, not all women, watch the words, typically, what I've experienced, this is where women would have to come up. We can ask Jennifer if she's a woman. If you don't consider her one, we'll count her out. I don't know nowadays what a woman or a man is anymore, right? We don't know what it is, like they say. So typically what I see and what I experience is the woman tends to be the one who's more selective. We've talked about this. They want the same one most of the time. Men have more of a complementary nature, where at times they're going to want to go outside of that construct, whether it's what you call lust, right? And then we can characterize it as animalistic and hedonic and all the rest of it. But there's a natural component to the beingness.
Lust is one of the seven deadly sins. They just did a poll on
Japanese women. They cheat 5 times as many times as the men do.
Did you even 80%. Ask the question of why?
But the point is, you're
saying you won't even ask the question of why.
That way, but it's happening all around us, and
this
I'm not saying that's healthy. Or I can tell you why I think that goes on. But you're acting like something doesn't exist that we all know exists and happens.
Excuse me, sir. If you're going to put
up your imaginary world that you're living in is as if women don't do this. Like, what are you talking about, Paul?
If you're going to put up a fact, you might want to focus on what might be the causality of that. Have you seen the Japanese men?
It's just disputing everything.
Have you seen the Japanese men?
That's got nothing to do with
it.
So you don't think there's a correlation?
In America, all the women, they just want to be with one man. They don't ever want to ride the cock carousel. We don't see any of that.
To be connecting with multiple men, dependent on the value of the man she's monogamous with.
I would say, you know what? I'll agree with you.
It's a whole different culture.
Hey, can I finish my point? I'll concede that an honor-able woman would act the way that you're proposing. But that's not the norm. So I don't know what you're presenting.
Right, and honorable men are not the norm either. So why do you take the position that this isn't an equal power dynamic? That men and women are not honorable and valuable in principle. So they're setting conditions for themselves and each other on what's acceptable and what's not. But the reality of it is there's a complementary nature as I see it. You're not going to tell me it's a minority of men who are attracted to multiple women on different levels. It's the majority.
No, 94% of nature is polygyny. That's the expression. That's the predominant expression we see in nature. Is
what you wish to do with
men
that.
With multiple females. The male with multiple female choices.
Right. And you could choose
what you see everywhere.
And you could choose what you wish to do with that complementary nature. So typically what it would look like, we go back to scripture, all the godly people who want to quote scripture sometimes and not listen to the rest of it. It says right there, X amount of Y.
We've defined it once again. You're okay with a polygyny type of lifestyle.
You didn't define the difference. I'm not going to pretend to know
life because it would grind on your ego just like it would any man, Paul, and you wouldn't tolerate it. You would go do something
what would
different.
Grind on my ego now?
The same thing that motivated you to say the goofy broad better find someone who can afford to pay the bills because I don't want nothing to do with her. That ego.
Yeah, the reason that I said that was because I probably said before or after I'm doing a little bit of that, triggering and kind of going into that thing in myself. The reality of it is I'd be forced to look at it. You think that I'm going to sit there and try to take control over my ego and try to deceive myself that if I move the pieces back around that it's going to go back to being better? That thing needed to be looked at. So I have to look at
you'd have to. We'd all have to look at it. That would be undeniable.
So that's the point. What is it in me that thinks I'm not honorable and valuable and respectable and all the things able enough to either keep that woman, quote unquote, keep, if that's such a thing, or get another one equal or better in quotes, if that's a thing. So I'd have to look at that. I'd have to look at it from both sides. I'd have to look at what created that in me, and I'd have to look at why I'm responding to it the way that I am.
Yeah,
but now again, we're back to typically.
I agree.
If I'm dealing with a woman like Jennifer, she's a bit older, as they all say. She might have more experience, right? In the sense of she's been around longer and seen more. So from her perspective, what she says is, and I don't know, you have to believe her or not. I don't choose to believe or not believe. She testifies. She said, I have no reason to talk to the guy who hit on me at the gym who's 25, whether he's hot or not, because he's got nothing he could show me or offer me or lead me with. And she's not, she could have had, if she wanted
every woman is going to say that to her man.
Okay. Well, Jennifer, do you
want to? Every woman is going to say that to her man. I have no reason to look at that, honey. What are you talking about?
So do you want her to comment on that?
Yeah, go ahead. It means nothing to me. That's
Means
like
nothing.
a
Okay,
testimony
Jennifer,
of your
no,
partner
Jennifer,
saying that
shut
she
up
wants
and
nothing to do.
No, I'm now
with
doing
another
what you
man.
monogamy boys do. Shut up, your voice doesn't
Why don't
matter.
you go on TikTok and look at all ladies trying to ride the cock
Stop
carousel
it. I'm
right now?
dealing with my woman monogamously, how you all do like the dog. I might kick her off the broadcast too. I might kick her a little bit when I go off the broadcast. Shut up, your voice doesn't matter. I'm a man who knows it all, and I know what women think and feel because I have my experience. See how easy that was?
In relation to what we're talking
Oh,
about.
you're so full of
See,
shit.
monogamy boys, how easy your life and
under
lifestyle
your
is?
leadership and has every vested interest.
So
even
you
if
won't
not
listen
just
to
for
her
the trust and the
qualification as a woman
nurturing
who's grown
of the
and mature and
romanticism that you two
successful.
have going on. Yes,
You won't
honey, I would
listen to her.
never want to suck Brian O'Shea's dick or anybody else other than yours because you have the perfect dick, Paul. You're the only one for me. I'd never be interested in any other man. I'd never want to have experiences with any other man because you're the one. All right, great. And if she does have that and she doesn't tell you, then that's called cheating. And if she does tell you, then there's your polyamory. So we'll know if you're really down with it when you get a gal who comes and says to you, you know, I want to go spend some time with Dick because he's a great carpenter and I love his wood. And we'll see how you deal with that. You haven't crossed that path yet. You haven't dealt with that. So when you get there, you can tell me and show me the working example of how this all happens and how this works. And then maybe you'll have some kids too, and you can show me how that all works with a family unit. Because I don't see any working examples.
Until I can show you how it works, you're going to presume it doesn't and presume
you can tell me about shit all day. I'm about, actual works, bud. You got to do something that actually has the rubber meet the road with what you're saying.
So you're not really interested in hearing from a woman about a woman
and expect me to say, oh, that makes sense. That'll work.
Even with a woman here, you're not interested in hearing because you already determined it's going to be biased and bad faith and dishonorable.
That's your relationship.
I do want to hear. Please, Jennifer, please. I apologize for saying that in an offensive way towards what you would present. I'm not trying to discount you. I'm just trying to present what I also see as an obvious, yes, potential bias, considering you're under the leadership of Paul. But that doesn't mean I don't want to hear you speak.
She's under the leadership of it. She's under she's under the spell, right?
There's no
of course.
bias.
Is she not under your leadership?
Okay, she tried to talk
again. Is that a mischaracterization?
You just keep cutting her off for ego
you're
bullshit.
saying it as if it's a falsehood. Is that false? Is she under your leadership?
Hold on, now I.
Okay, let her speak.
Dick. I gotta start my speaker system here. Go ahead, give me a test there. Give me some.
Mic check. Go ahead, 1 2 1 2. Mic check. Hello, hello. You hear us? Hello, hello. Hello.
Hello, hello.
We can hear you.
All right, yeah, no, the fucking sound is shitty here. Give me 1 sec.
You're muted, Paul.
No, he's doing something, Lou.
I wanted to add that sorry, Jennifer, and I say this respectfully, that there is a missing element when it comes to the relationship between Paul and Jennifer in this whole idea of monogamy or not monogamy. And the missing element is that Jennifer has reached an age, and I say it respectfully.
Children, we've gone over this. Children, we've gone over it.
So we haven't gone over it because that's
we haven't in the past.
If
hey, Paul, let him finish.
If a woman is monogamous, right, that's fine and dandy. If a man is monogamous, that's fine and dandy. If they want to be polygamous, that's also fine. But then if there's polyamorous idea of it, when it involves children, then it brings a whole new level of complexity. So now one man may be responsible to take care of children that may not be his, and that may be fine. I guess some people can accept that.
Lou.
And move on.
Hey, Lou.
But as a way of surviving and moving forth your progeny, that's not a natural thing in nature.
Finish.
Hey, Lou. If you be quiet, I bet Jennifer might be able to say some words. I mean, I thought someone asked her a question, and then just like usual, a question's asked, but no opportunity to answer. Jennifer, sister, please.
These are why they're so happy in these monogamous relationships. They have such great communication. Go ahead, Jennifer. Maybe you can finally get to say something. We're all these honorable men here.
So, yeah, Lou, I don't have experience with there being children involved, and nor will that be my experience. So I can't speak on that. But, you know,
Stop
with what...
like a child.
Quit
Sorry,
interrupting her.
I made the mistake of unmuting him. I'm sorry.
Get closer to the mic.
All I can speak from is my experience, and you know,
Act like
Lou.
Like a
Please continue.
How bizarre.
Hi, Dick. So yeah, a woman can say, "Oh no, you know, I wouldn't want any other man." She could say it, or she can actually believe it, and I can have conversations or interactions with other men, and there's nothing there. What can that other man offer me? You know, there's nothing that he can offer me that would go anywhere close to what Paul offers me. And it's a knowing that I have. And so it's not that Paul says, no, you can't have those experiences. It really is from a woman's perspective. There's no need to have another man in my life because there's really nothing he can offer me at all.
And I know that he's not telling you that you can't. I'm telling him that if you did, that would change the whole dynamic. And especially if he had children, that would really throw a huge monkey in his wrench. But even without children.
What makes you think that a woman who then has bore my children would have more reason to want to go outside the relationship? She'd have less reason.
So hypothetically speaking, she takes a liking to Brian O'Shea. She would like to lay with him for the evening.
I don't understand. Why are we doing hypotheticals?
Because this is what polyamory is. So I'm trying to understand how it works out in a practical sense in a day-to-day.
But it's not practical because you don't have anyone on panels
any real conversation if you can't present what the variable would be if the situation actually presents itself.
Paul, let him finish. Big mouth, dude. Big mouth. Let him finish.
He's making a
let him finish, you big mouth. Then Paul, shut up and let him finish.
My hypothetical out of it, Paul. You tell me how it works in a practical day-to-day sense. How does it work for the woman if she does not have the same testimony that the woman sitting next to you has and says, I would like to explore other things, but I still love you, baby, and I still want to be with you. And don't tell me women don't do that. Because it's not the case.
Who said
that you're acting like one situation and one example is the only.
Why are you getting triggered and gnashing your teeth?
Because you want to eat some meat like right what we all see happening out here is not an actual testimony of reality. That one situation, one practical, you and your partner is embodying everything that's happening in the dynamics of every relationship out here. Of course not.
She just told you.
And let me say this. Let me just
let
say
him
this, Paul.
Finish, Paul.
If there was no example of what I'm saying, then there would be no need for the term or the word polyamory.
Who said
because
there was no
women
example?
Would never want to go outside of the relationship
You're
of
not
the man they
looking at
love
the
and adore and
reasons
are
why they
to.
want to go outside the relationship. You're not looking at the reasons most of the time.
And you're saying if they're
because you want it your
I guess
way.
That if they're an honorable man, they never would want to. And I fair enough, dude. But you're not giving any allotment for the woman in that polyamory type of experience. It's because what are you going to do when as something I present you, but not a hypothetical, becomes real? So you present me a real situation and tell me how that works.
Dick, if a woman
Dick, would you be comfortable with raising somebody else's children in a polyamorous relationship?
Well, I mean, now you're bringing the polyamorous. I mean, just the question alone, absolutely. I don't have any issue raising someone else's child. In a situation where I'm in a house with multiple men and multiple women all sharing each other sexually, no, I don't have any desire for that. That's unconscionable. It's atrocious in my mind. Like, I don't want to do that.
Dynamic to make the extreme point of the complementary nature of man and woman that you can't seem to reconcile and understand.
I missed it. I was listening. I just heard the last part.
There's typically no reason for a woman who's satisfied in pretty much all areas to want another man in the equation. A man, a lot of times,
for a man.
Let him finish, cook.
Blah blah blah.
Right. Good for the goose, not good for the gander, as they say, right? So more hypocrisy, more double standards, and triple standards.
Brother, so you're just saying there is no working example.
Let the guy who agrees with me
corroborating
finish
everything
while I
I'm
cut
saying.
you off with him.
It's all on record here. You're corroborating everything I'm saying. Polygyny and polyandry are the only working examples we have.
She has
you
already
wouldn't
spoken
be in a
for
polyamorous
a woman
relationship.
herself.
That's why
You're
you can't
speaking for
articulate
all
an
women.
example.
Okay, so I spoke for some women who are honor-able and respect-able with themselves and not dysfunctional, looking for a daddy all over town, right? So typically women don't do that, right? It's more of a male attribute to seek multiple partners.
No, that's an animal. That's animal.
That's an animal. Yeah, you seem really evolved, boy.
Oh, yeah, you're such a big man.
You're saying as an absolute statement here, Paul, that typically women don't seek multiple partners. Only men are doing that. That's your position.
Has that been
actually agree, yeah.
Has that
We're
been
not
your
talking
experience?
about
that's bullshit.
one woman's
No, I'm
experience.
asking
At
her
a
That's bullshit, Chuck.
I'm asking her experience from her perspective and the men she's dealt with.
That's your relationship. It's not everybody's relationship.
Chuck, what do you mean men are Chuck, what do you mean men are seeking multiple partners?
They aren't.
Okay.
If you're
So
honorable
what is wrong with that?
if you're honorable and you stand up to your commitment, that's what makes you honorable, you dumbass.
Right.
Okay,
so if I
I'm honorable with
I have
two
another
women.
woman sitting right here, and her and Jennifer like each other, and they enjoy each other in different ways, and we all enjoy each other, and I have children with one of them and not her, and we all make it work some way, somehow, and they don't need another man, but somehow we're all cool, then that's dishonorable? How?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Right, and that's all I have to say. So how do we
everybody-
ever get to an argument?
Because you keep running your
I
mouth.
don't know. Seems like everyone's triggered and defensive and dishonoring their nature.
You're the one triggered. You're the one triggered.
My Lord.
Can I ask everybody on the panel real quick? I know John is in Islam, but everybody else is pretty much Christian oriented, correct?
I'm spiritual. I'm not religious.
And in that, I didn't say religious. I said Christian oriented. You operate your lives on the Christian book and its scriptures. Okay. And in that book, it is Jacob that has 6 wives and 12 children, or excuse me, 13 children. One happened to be a female, but his 12 sons in the names is the birthright. If you learn this stuff, you learn a lot more about the relationship of 6 wives with one man. I yield.
Well, what each person does is fine. It's when you try to put
everybody
somebody else.
Paul just keeps backing up what I said.
Here's the
kicker. It's not like I'm looking for a victory. It's just if I'm right, I'm right. I mean, why can't we just acknowledge the fact that I've said a lot of factual things that absolutely make sense, Paul? And I've enlightened you some stuff here today. And as a brother, you've taught me a lot. You've helped me with a lot of different things, a lot of perspectives.
You've not enlightened me on anything.
I'm speaking complete sense here, Paul. You can absolutely.
Paul knows everything.
What we talked about.
Here's going to be the kicker of all this. You don't have to argue about it because all you boys ain't going to get the opportunity to live that lifestyle because that monogamous woman you're with ain't going to have it.
There you go.
One way or the other.
There you go. And now, and then you give me grief for having a response. Why does it keep coming up, Dick? Why do you keep presenting a counter argument? Why do you have a position on this? Why do you have something to say about it? Because I actually have working examples. It's not my first rodeo. I'm not going to let you just fucking spew bullshit and acts like it actually hasn't cuts the mustard on anything. It's fucking horseshit, Paul.
Right.
And you should hold yourself to a higher standard. You know better. You're highly intelligent, dude.
You
know what I'm saying is factual and actually makes sense,
man. She's gonna guilt you to say she ain't okay with it and you don't love her if you do it. So you ain't gonna do it. Simple.
Walk in my shoes, pal.
And I don't know what you guys.
You're welcome for me challenging your position so you could tighten up on it and refine it a bit next.
Why would I need to tighten up on honoring my nature and communicating with the woman next to me and having obviously more trust and respect and honor for us as a creation and an understanding and a willingness to move forward without insecurity, fear, and boundary issues and obsession and infatuation?
Because it's called love. Some working examples of
how you guys didn't understand as far as that working example you're looking for. I just told Jacob, and the honor there was the birthright. Polygyny. It wasn't. And I'm telling you, it's a working example based on the spirit of bringing people together for 12 nations or 12 tribes. It's diversity. It's diversity. We are not meant to be one sort of thing. We're meant to have dominion, and that means we have to have diversity, period.
But it's a beautiful example of the primary expression we see in all of nature, Wizard, as well. So it's definitely corroborating what I'm saying is another example of polygyny.
But he's not living it, yet he's preaching it.
If you don't
that's
agree,
the thing.
I'm
a lot
ears.
of you monogamy boys preach a lot of shit you don't live, and that's the main reason Jennifer ain't going to go. You're cutting me off.
Oh, wow.
Cut me off again. Let him finish.
Okay, let him finish.
Right. Thank you, Chuck. Now it's not
You're,
Chuck, it's Chuck now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Jennifer's not going to go lay down with anybody on the panel except maybe Wizard, and he has his own situation, and I don't think he's doing whatever, and we're not going to get into that conversation. There's a reason why, because the monogamy boys up here don't stand for rights, freedom, and principles, so you ain't got commitment, will, and discipline in you, and she ain't impressed.
How do you know that?
Just like I ain't. Just like I ain't. So with a woman, a real American woman,
oh, you're definitely not an American man.
She ain't gonna want to lie down with someone because they're good with woodworking.
You don't even know what love is.
That ain't good enough. I know loving my country. I know loving my God. I know loving my rights and my land, and I do more to stand on it than you, pal.
Go ahead and make fun of me, you boxhead.
You know what impressed me about my woman is that at the time in my life when I needed somebody to have my six, and I needed somebody to go in that courtroom and do the videoing, ain't not a motherfucker in this world stood up except her.
Right. There you go.
So that's the bottom line, right? It ain't about what our dick and vaginas doing about lust. It's about true care and true love. Well, the principles are what that create that bond. The mutual respect and loyalty to a cause is what creates that bond. Jennifer might be more respectable and honorable and more of a rider than the majority of bitch boys on the street who are talking a big game. I don't know. We haven't technically been battle tested together yet, but we'll see. She seems to have a willingness on some level. She seems to be open to be teachable. She seems to care about the principles, rights, and freedoms and stand up for them at times while the other little bitch boys around her go quiet. So maybe that's what unites us truly. Maybe when our dick and vagina are going in opposite ways, our mind and heart will still be going in the same way as our spirit and the eternal truth. So that'll create a forever bond, I would think. It's friends first.
You don't understand at all what love is.
I know, Chuck. You got it all down.
Hey, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect.
Hey, bro. I lived it. Okay, I've seen both sides of it.
So have I.
I know, but you come from that position of wanting to defend that. I'm not defending or attacking. I'm saying
you always want to attack.
My father make a commitment to God that he couldn't keep when he made it. And
your father's got nothing to do with this.
I watched him make a commitment to God he couldn't keep.
It's got nothing to do with you.
Let me finish.
Paul, you have a situation
I watched him make a commitment he couldn't stand up to and suffer most of his life.
That's his problem.
Because he had to cut off his dick and balls or go pay for pussy or create a second home and family and relationship because the mother of his child had half her body go paralyzed and she couldn't be in a completely functional, loving relationship, which has a sexual component. So what do you do
his problem.
in those cases? That's his problem, right? Why should it be a problem? Why should it be a problem?
Because you're presenting it as a problem.
It's not a problem. There's a simple solution. I'm going to care for her. I'm going to pay for her shit. I'm going to love her the best I can. She can't be sexual. So I'm going to find an alternative partner if I'm open to that. If I'm not, I'm going to stick it out with her.
And if she says, and if she does what she says she won't do, and she goes and loves your friend and has a baby with him, maybe you'll get over your ego and you say, you know what, I'll raise a kid.
Who cheated on
and I'll stay with her.
Did one of your girlfriends fuck a black guy? What's your deal, bro?
You make that work.
You keep refocusing the damn conversation where it doesn't
example
exist.
You could show us, like, hey, Dick, here's how this actually works.
You're emotional and triggered, and somebody cheated on you.
I really genuinely want to see. I want to challenge
it. Who cheated on you early on, Dick?
How does it work in a family?
Who cheated on you early on?
You presented me a hypothetical there, Paul, and I want to see. In your hypothetical that you presented, like she starts loving someone else, then she has a child with him. Now, so you want to do this together now, right? So you're going to help raise a child. He's going to help raise a child. She's going to be involved with both of you, potentially, maybe not at different times. I mean, and we're saying that's the healthy way that this ends up evolving, right? You see a picture where that plays out in reality.
The woman I was with, I still have a feeling for her. She lied and cheated. She has a man and another child now. Do you think that I get in a space where I wouldn't be open to still loving her and taking care of that child on some level? I ain't going to be financially responsible for it because they all got issues with that. I'm not going to be a sucker, but a child's a child, man. I'll care and love for a child. I don't give a fuck whose it is. I don't need it to be mine by any means. Ask these people over here.
Yeah, we should also.
I look at that child and sit with it more than they do a lot of times because they take it for granted at this point. Most people do when they've had it around often enough. So I can't speak on having it around every day. I might do the same. But I don't get into biological chimpanzee boundary issues and ego of mine and yours. We share experiences, we share property and time and energy and connections, and that's a better alternative than boundary issues and control and fixation and one-on-ones because people can't co-create in a group dynamic. Have you seen the panels that come out of the monogamy household? It's why we can't get anywhere because you got a bunch of little children.
If you
I can't see the family-oriented panels that come out of polyamory because it doesn't exist, but if you have any references you want me to do some research on.
It's not true. You could even go to the leftist betas
I've seen some weird
who do
twisted
polyamory
documentaries.
cuckery that I don't even agree with. And they'll sit here and have more of a functional conversation without interrupting and yelling about what love is, whether they're dysfunctional or not. We could talk about that. But, I have to get loud and have this presentment because you guys are triggered and defensive.
If the gal that you're partner, or if you're partnered with someone that then chooses to go be with another man and she has a child and you're all working it out together in unison and you find harmony, hopefully the man has the same mindset you do and he doesn't have any jealousy or guilt or weird types of emotions going on and he's balanced because now you have all these variables of multiple, and maybe he's got another partner. So who knows how many people he's involved with. So and now you're talking about finances of how you're going to manage all the flow of those finances. If you want to make your life that complicated and you can make a working example of that, go right ahead. I applaud you, dude. I will fucking literally sit here and be the cheerleader on the sidelines going, yeehaw, fucking Paul did it, man. He did something unthinkable. But I don't see that anywhere. And if I get heated in what I'm saying because you don't have a working example of it, I think it's totally respectful for me to come from that position.
And I'll
Amen, Dick.
You interrupt me just the same way you say I interrupt you. You do it all day long, Paul.
That's fine.
Amen.
Be a hypocrite.
That's fine. You're angry. I'll ask you to give me an example.
You're the one angry.
Dude. You trigger me because
just
you don't
keep talking
you don't
over
acknowledge
defending your
perspective. I have to constantly acknowledge when I'm wrong with you and actually look at multiple perspectives.
Power and control
to do that.
Bro, you did it with Jennifer. All you do it like that.
You attack monogamy all the time.
It's second nature.
You attack
putting up a boundary out of fear, defending the position,
all the time.
And being divided in that war.
You attack all the time.
Function for polyamory.
You attack all the time.
Okay, that's 5 times you said it. You want to keep repeating? We didn't hear you.
I can because that's what you do. You keep espousing your
bullshit. You can't even
bullshit.
believe one woman would fuck you, let alone multiple, so you ain't never going to have this discussion.
Oh, you're full of shit. You
Chuck,
never walked in my shoes.
Chuck, you've had no input except to rebut something that with no foundation. Please stay out of it.
Give me a break. He's never walked in my fucking shoes.
Stay out of it unless you got something to input.
So I have to walk in his shoes to know about life, according to subjective reality boy. Subjective morality and reality boy.
You don't have a clue.
Right, but you got it all figured out, apparently. You and Dick.
No,
and
I don't. I go day by day, yeah,
over their happy relationships. They seem really
I'm willing to
happy.
learn. I'm not the one that claims to have it all figured out. You are, Paul.
I don't have it
I
figured
didn't
out
say that I
either.
have it figured out in general. I said I'm a genius of me at this time. It could change 2 minutes from now. And I know what I'm going to do and not do. And I'm not going to lie to myself and anyone else. And I'm going to explore the idea of social dynamics and interpersonal relationships and inherent hierarchical value systems, because I'm not a bitch. I'd rather look at myself.
You're a mental case.
I'd rather look at myself and say, I'd rather look at myself and say, if Jennifer went off, I'm going to ask her, hey, Jennifer, why? What was the reason? Because we were pretty solid
healthy.
there.
That's great. Communication.
Chuck, what's your argument?
Me?
No, Chuck. Yeah, Chuck. What's your argument against Paul?
Wait a minute.
Because he attacks. He attacks.
Shut up because he didn't have anything to input. Now you're asking.
Oh, bullshit! Shut up! Shut up!
No, I'm just saying. I'm just giving the chance to elaborate. I'm not just saying there's not an argument. I'm just saying
because Paul.
All he comes off as a little jealous of Paul's position.
Paul attacks monogamy. Paul attacks monogamy.
No,
all the time.
If you're going to say I attack, I'm critical of the folks who keep defending and spouting monogamy as the way.
Because if you're honorable,
I don't espouse it as the way. I say polygyny is the predominant expression all the
for
time.
rights, freedom, principles, and when I get 80% in a Zoom and say, why not? You say, my child and my woman is the reason I ain't a man enough. My child and my woman.
No,
that don't fly with me. Maybe
you got to be honorable to your commitment.
Shut up, cock. I have the keys. Why am I even fucking yelling and popping my head off like snap?
Because you're an asshole,
right? Why am I even doing that? Jack doesn't even know why. He's looking at me like, asshole. You got the keys. You just took yourself out back and have been yelling this whole time. Even he thinks I'm an asshole right now. So let's all bond over that, right? So I'm so caring for truth and a real interaction and not wanting to be controlling. I forget I have the control. How bizarre. So you guys go to control for your default mode. I go to like passion for truth, and I have the control and I don't even use it, right?
I don't ever use the control either. I purposefully don't. I avoid it at all costs because I don't want to fucking have to have some kind of crutch for my mind.
I never said necessarily monogamy was inherently bad or evil.
Okay, well, great. So we're on the same page. I told you we agreed from the beginning. You're the one who wants to have this argument.
Letting me finish. You're not letting me finish, Dick. What I'm saying is, I suppose I have a very good idea on some level that one of the reasons why we see this modern day construct of society and the non-community is these boundary issues. This is my land. This is my house. Yeah. This is my woman and my dog and my child. And if one of them dies, these are the same people in these monogamous households who don't even have functional relationships and love with their extended family most of the time, I see. They can't even count on their extended family to come in and watch the damn house and the animal and the child. Either they're too busy arguing and fighting over money to pay for their own shit, or arguing and fighting over what should happen with the property and the damn child that ain't theirs. So I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing a construct that's like root level destroyed because we have boundary issues and an inability to co-create in a group dynamic functionally. Because also another idea is we have private parts and bathroom business and inappropriate language. And all these different ideas of boundaries and insecurities and fears over even just words and natural functions. So I throw sex right on the pile. If the Western world is insecure about pissing and shitting and masturbating and all the rest of it that we do as creatures, they're probably insecure about sexuality and multiple partners, right? And at one point, they weren't like this, overlaid with all the political correctness and mind control. Men just did what men did. And it wasn't even thought of a second time, right? Till we came in with Every Kiss Begins with K, when they started mining the diamond fields, and we brought in the religion, and we brought in the state of the institution of marriage and the contracts where we could take everyone to court. So it's all one process to me. The more you get it whittled down to one or two people inside of a contract in an institution with the state, the more you have a destruction of the village and community. The more you share love, time, energy, attention, property, and sexuality freely, safe, and healthy with healthy boundaries, the more I think the community and village proliferates and we get away from our insecurities and fears, and we just kind of are. Right?
What are the healthy boundaries of sharing your woman and sharing your man? What are the healthy boundaries?
Well, again, I think that it is, like Dick says, can be conditional. Now, we can't say everyone's completely the same. We could say maybe it's oneself, pure conscious and awareness, but everyone may have a bit of a different lean one way or the other chemically. All I'm saying is, when I believe, can't really prove it, when we look at these dynamics, there's tendencies and reasons why women become unhappy in the relationship or unfulfilled, and they start to open up their horizons on other suitors, right?
Yeah.
And they start courting. They're just more open interaction. When a woman is more...
I just lost some. Hello?
Oh, was that?
Shit, I thought that was me.
Signal sucks at this time.
I thought it was me.
I keep seeing it that it's like the same thing Paul does with meats, where he presents this panacea nirvana, like this place exists where the farm produces all this cheese and eggs where nothing dies, or you don't have to actually do a culling. And it's the same thing with this polyamory. It's like it's a grand idea where there's not going to be jealousy and everyone's overcome their inner wounds and traumas, and we're all enlightened and we're working together in homeostasis where everything's balanced. But this is not the true dynamic. This is not the actual human condition. So to me, it's naive to act like at this current state that we're in and what we see happening all around us, that's actually going to reflect. So yeah, let's do the inner work. Maybe we get there with the animals, with the meat. Maybe we get there with the relationships. But as of right here, right now, I think people have to use their discernment, make the best decision with the conscience that sears them, how to organize their family in a way that's going to create nurturing environments for children where we can actually give these kids the attention they need to be able to grow and learn. And yes, we do need community. We do need the help of elders. We do need to employ any resources and skill-oriented teaching that we can from people outside of our direct family network. But sexuality comes into all this. And I understand, sharing experiences with other people, one thing, having openly sexual experiences where children could be procreated. And I know you say your way around it is no dick and vagina, Paul, and I get that. That's a, noble type of response to realizing what happens when you do actually copulate. And I've actually employed those principles long back in my life. Like, I'm not looking to try to create a kid at that point. And that's why I didn't have kids till later in my life. But the bottom line is when people start fucking, kids start coming out. And it can get real dicey real quick if there's not clear communication, clear understanding. So that's why I say create the hypotheticals. Let's challenge it. Let's see how it works in a practical sense. Maybe I can learn a lot more than I already have from you, Paul, but we have to be able to challenge it.
Right. So when we create the hypothetical, right?
For clarity, Dick, are you saying that one man, one woman is best, and Paul's saying multiples? Basically.
No, I'm saying that the only thing we see in nature is monogamy, polygyny, or polyandry. And the predominant expression is polygyny, which is a man-based relationship with multiple women. Right. I think that can definitely be done healthy, but when you look at the current state of humanity, to find suitable mates that are all going to be able to work together, even with just the female dynamic, could be quite a challenge. But I do see working examples, and I do see where communities, hey, don't interrupt, dude. Come on, let me finish, Paul. I do see working examples of that are healthy, Joe. Okay. And so, especially in community environments, and I could see, how that would work in my own circumstance. I could see how that would be explored if the circumstances were correct. But to choose monogamy is also healthy, and that's just been my argument.
I think so. I could be wrong because I wasn't here. Paul might have really good arguments, but I think monogamy can be helpful, and I also think polygamy can be successful.
And then to just clarify, polyandry is the very small percentile, right? I mean, we do have birds and bees and certain other expressions of it, but it's not typical that the woman is mating with multiple men.
This is why women leave you monogamy, boys. This is why women leave you monogamy, boys, because you're overly left brain and analytical, and you just drone on and on, but never really bring clarity or make a point. So, you know, the reality of it is, Dick, we don't need to get into the ego. Let's do the hypothetical you said. There's 2 to 1 at least, women to men on the planet.
Not anymore. It's equal.
So if there's 2...
In fact, I think men outnumber women slightly now. It's evened out.
Right. So if that is true, do you think there might be a reason or causality for that? Yeah, we never get to the reason.
I'm smoking. You tell me.
I don't accept,
Paul.
Yeah, monogamy.
Oh, I hear what you're going.
And an institutionalized lifestyle where certain genetics are kept going that are inferior as far as nature is concerned.
Yeah, and China only having boys. And
you can't make a community survive with you can't survive in any community historically with a strictly monogamous model. From what I've seen throughout history, the modern day world is different because you don't have the same elements that are present. You don't have the same survival and nature elements that are present. So we've we believe conquered certain aspects of the world and ourselves, and it makes certain things not necessary for survival anymore, right? So we think. When the day comes when we have to go to war on, the day comes where we have to go to war on this land, you're going to see why monogamy doesn't work. Because you got your children and I got mine, and I don't give a fuck about yours because I care too much about mine. When there are children, we go to war for enslavia, not for what's mine and what's yours.
Hey, that's great, Paul. So in that situation, it won't work. So then we'll switch to polygyny, which is the greater expression anyway. So big deal.
Right. So you want to live in a world run by low-value beta males. You want to live in a world run by low-value beta males and insecure women where we dishonor our nature and the communal idea of the lifestyle that is supernatural, that continues to leave us unprepared and uncooperative. Right.
No, I want to live with high-value males like myself that have honesty and integrity and call it how they see it and actually express it and articulate in the way that it actually is being done and is actually embodied in what we see outside of ourselves everywhere. So just being honest with the fact.
So do you think? Right. So do you think if I was on the land with Dick and he was standing completely for rights, freedom, principles, and I know he would die or go to a box with me, that I really give a fuck about him sharing half the women that I have?
I wouldn't do that.
Maybe part of the reason
why to grind on another man's ego that way. Why would I do that? Maybe one of the
reasons why. Well,
have you ever heard of bros before hoes in that sense? Now, I know you'll characterize it that I'm a terrible guy for saying that, but I don't chase women, Paul. I chase men of honor.
African Americans.
I want to surround myself a minimum. I could care less about how many fucking women I have around me at a moment, because the fact is, women gravitate to be around men of honor, so you don't have to worry about that if you're handling your business. They want to be around your energy, even if it's not just to talk to you for a minute. They know they could never have the position that your wife has.
That's what I've been
saying. But they want to be around you.
Okay,
great. It's leadership.
That's what
just like you embody with Jennifer all day long. Leadership. She loves it. It's part of why she loves you so much, Paul, because you're a great leader.
But that's what I've been saying, Dick, is that the issue really comes in either with the self or the group dynamic. Because what happens that kicks up the ego is, man looks at the woman and goes, why would you fuck with him? And if she don't have a really good answer that compels him to get out of his protective mechanism into some honorable space, he's going to question her discernment.
How about more basic shit? Like if she's fucking with other guys,
that's not polyamory.
Then she wants to be with this other guy. Stop spending time with you, taking care of your shit, and she's over to taking care of him and his family. That's also something a motherfucker got to worry about if he's letting everybody fuck his broad.
Right, and I'm saying that if we go back to the original set of principles and circumstances, it was 2 to 1 women to men. So if there's 4 women and 2 men, then there's kind of more availability to share duties and responsibilities and time and energy and attention. And again, because men are more sort of not as self-selective, although it would do us well to embody that feminine trait. To just, like I've talked about in the past, we're more geared for the next one. The women are geared for the right one. So we meet in the middle, make sure the next one is the right one or one of the right ones, if that makes sense. for everybody, I guess, involved. And that's a big if, because if you really get down to the preconditions I set for this, it's like a small number of people, as Dick says, this is going to work with. Not because I don't think it's meant to work creationally, but because we can embody it like everything else that's natural. We get in our own way.
Really close to your opinions. I'm trying to see where you differ. You're very close to your opinions, it was saying.
Yeah, I acknowledge that early on. It is what it is. There's just a little rub there with definitions and also how it plays out in a practical sense. But, you know, again, each person has to follow their own discernment, their own conscience that sears them, and do what they know is right and true within their relationship. And if other people want to characterize it as weak-minded or soft or whatever, so be it. But, you know, at the end of the day, you got to face the Most High and what you're doing. That's the real decision.
That's right, dude.
That's the only reason I ever respond, Paul, is because you constantly tag on the monogamy guys. Like, we don't have the free will and accountability to do that in a healthy way that is actually sound and well thought out and strategic, considering the variables that we face in this toxic world that we're looking at.
I appreciate that. And I'm just commenting on what I'm noticing. If it's incorrect, act like you don't even see and hear it. But when you get triggered and get defensive, it kind of verifies to me that what I'm seeing is
with me.
Yes, you
do the same with me, Paul. Then why'd you come up here?
I don't need a peanut gallery to defend it.
I was talking about it.
Still.
Why even get involved then, Paul? Because I was talking about it. And so if it doesn't, if you're telling me that advice is to not get triggered or not to respond or not to even just like float over me like water, you know, then why don't you do that and set the example, show me how it's done?
Because his ego won't let him.
Goodbye, Chuck. Goodbye. Right? This is like, it has to be that way because you still can't figure out what we're trying to do here. Right? And Jack has even now taken a back seat, and I appreciate that, Jack, showing like humbleness and reverence before the creator and the creation, allowing us to do our thing and, you know, have the back and forth for the people, I guess, you know, and for the truth of the facts of the matter. So, yeah, the reality of it is I'm not attacking. I'm pointing out in a way that purposely is engineered to grind egos to verify the truth, which it does every time, that the majority of men are guilted into monogamy through fear and insecurity and the nagging. This is like Hacky Comedian 101. Ask O'Shea. Is this not hacky material on a cruise ship 101? We get a bunch of old people in a room. We go up on stage and we make the joke about how every man out there wants to fuck another woman sometimes, but not really. And then everyone giggles and laughs and they look at each other and then they go about their night. And on the way home, there's questions. Or there's comments,
nothing but truth so far, Paul. You ain't spoke nothing but truth.
Right? So this is like 101, our nature that we can't reconcile because we're so guilty and fearful and insecure on both sides. Us honoring our nature and women allowing us to honor our nature and honoring that back, and us honoring them in our own way. Because we say, well, this ain't about just fucking bitches and putting up numbers and finding our masculinity at the bottom of a vagina. This is like whatever woman comes into the situation, both man and woman has to care for them, just like that person has to care for those beings and whatever children are involved, whoever they are, right? Because they're children. So, you know, ultimately, we all come into these relationships with people from the past. A lot of us still have feelings for these people. So we're in new relationship with feelings for people that we're not with anymore. Is that cheating? Because we have a shared love or connections, or a man has little pieces of his heart that belong to different women, so to speak. Right? Should we be guilty and fearful of that? Or should we say the creation created us to be loving beings? And the more we get fearful and insecure of that, the more I go, my woman, mine. No.
Right? I got no problem with you pointing that shit out, Paul.
Like the wizard says.
It's clear that you're right. We've all been programmed with the fucking whatever diamond ad, February, Valentine's Day, and all of that bullshit. And we've been indoctrinated. Undoubtedly, we believe one man, one woman to the ends of the earth. Whether it's right or wrong, and to what percent, we undoubtedly been indoctrinated, and we, you know, believe that bullshit. I'm up against
and I got at least 50.
I don't want nobody fucking my woman. I ain't trying to see nobody. I ain't trying to see her not answer my calls for another. My insecurity is all up now that you put it that way. Fuck yeah. I don't want nobody fucking with my woman.
Hey, Joe, Paul, Chuck in Tennessee, thank you for the contribution. When did this become the Unshaved show? What bowl?
Unshaved? Is that unshaved?
Well, it's sure as fuck not the Jack show anymore. And
Unshaved.
how long
I
do
think
I
that's
allow
really
this to
something you have an
continue,
issue with,
Paul?
Paul, though. Right there, what Joe did.
Hey,
You
Dick.
ain't gonna fuck my
Dick.
woman. That's usually
Dick.
what triggers you, Paul.
Hey,
right?
Dick. Fuck, oh dear. I've been patient long enough for both of you, all of you. What in the hell kind of disrespect is this? Calling this bullshit value for the watchers? This arguing for entertainment? It's fucking nonsense. I'm committed to making a better world. I'm trying to use the resources and methods I believe to be available. If you guys want to go argue, please go somewhere else.
I'm going to leave my cam off because I did shave.
I had to throw my 2 cents in. They weren't arguing too horribly. You know, it wasn't horrible since I got here. They've both been trying to and giving really valid points. I'm just going back and forth. I think they're both.
I
doing
know,
good.
Joe.
Nah, it was my bad. I interrupted you, Jack. I apologize.
Right into the back and forth, and it continues and goes on and on.
I meant
Can
the
I
argument,
interpret
not
Chuck?
the.
Is what
no,
Chuck's saying is, Jack, you used to get punked by Paul. Why show with Paul? I mean, I don't care, but I get what that's all he's saying for $2.
you see all the good shit that they put out.
All he's saying is that, like I was literally going to say to Jack, kind of see through this, that as soon as somebody can't, interrupt the valuable back and forth conversation, as me and Dick saw it, if you don't see it that way, move on. But I think we and everyone else were kind of feeling and seeing that there was some value in that back and forth. He couldn't intercede on that because he wanted to play like defender for Dick, and Dick doesn't need it. Right. So then, like, I cut his mic down. So then he sends you $2 to play on your emotion. Right. Hey, when did this become the Paul show? And then Illumitommy's going to come up, verify he's on board with that. Then we're going to see the train of folks who really just hate me and don't want to see me bring value on any level because it means something to them about them. Right. But we can do whatever you want to do.
You don't think they can be pointing out the truth? You don't think they're pointing out what's fucking obvious?
Yeah, that I tend to, and I'm sure.
Are you some victim, Paul? Everyone's out to fucking get you? No,
wow,
bullshit.
This is awesome.
People are pointing out what's obvious, dude.
Right, but all that they're pointing out is what's obvious, like you say, and what's obvious is I'm a powerful personality, and maybe Dick is too, and we may tend to dominate certain conversations naturally. So if that's the case, you can take a hold and direct it. I will defer to you.
I did.
You don't have to get angry and triggered and
controlling.
controlling.
Neither of you have you both. Matter of fact, the majority of people on this panel have patterns of showing me disrespect. Now, I've been very kind, very patient, very forgiving. When does it change?
I want to talk about this.
I wasn't perceiving it as me disrespecting you. I was perceiving it as you creating a space to facilitate a great conversation and interaction that I chose to have here on your space rather than on my area.
And
so,
I do have to say, it's right
I don't see
a dozen times, 20 times, 30 times until you have the attention, until you make the commitment to resolve. All you're going to do is fucking imagine arguments all day long. Just imagine arguments. You have no commitment to resolve, Paul.
Resolve in what sense? With someone else? I have commitment to resolve within myself and reconciliation within my life. I can't have that for anyone else unless they choose that as well.
The only problem I saw was Chuck, admittedly.
guys, you know what?
Well, hold on. I want to talk on the relationship thing, but Paul had just said this thing about I'll just say something, and then if you're triggered and you get mad, you did wrong. It's like, no, Paul, people don't have to sit and call me a pedo. And then, like, even if I don't get mad about it, it's not cool to just be out in public calling a guy a pedo. And there's nobody that made the rule that, oh, you got to let him say it and not get mad. That's the rule.
Did that. Okay, so we're gonna do like straw man argument right from the gate.
No, I'm giving an example.
That,
you could be saying anything
and blaming the reaction on insecurities, not recognizing that
I'm not blaming anything. I wasn't the one complaining. I wasn't the one complaining. I was holding my own as always and giving my understanding.
You were the one
Everyone else is complaining and getting triggered and insecure.
Yeah, that's valid to do. It's called some guy keeps saying some fucked up shit every time I see him. That's the guy that's in the wrong. I'm not in the wrong for saying, God damn, why is he saying this shit all the time?
Tommy's got an agenda, Jack. If you didn't know already, it's pretty clear.
Yeah, right. Freedom,
against me every time. It's not that I'm a victim. It's they only pipe up to disagree with me. That's the point.
That's maybe that's what you see.
Your ego.
Okay.
True. Okay. I'm sorry, man. I don't mean to take out my frustration.
No, you're doing great, Jack.
Tom?
I've never seen you say the shit you just said, Jack. You are doing great.
I'm not lying, guys. There's something divine and magical that's happening here. What the fuck are we wasting our time arguing over hypotheticals and imagined scenarios? If someone wants to talk from fucking experience, let me hear the experience. Let me hear the facts. Everyone can imagine stuff.
What do you want to hear, Jack?
Well, I agree with
Yeah,
so when Paul or somebody talks about land and having people like grouped up on land, this is an extension of what happens. Like imagine living amongst each other on off-grid land. This still happens and more extreme because you can
And what's the
swing on
reason for that? Can we get to the reason? Can we get to the causality again? Of
to
why
find
you're
that
correct?
unity. It's a process to find that unity.
No. The causality of why what you just said is so correct that I found that on these panels, when I first came looking for community and development and all the other things Jack came looking for, I found out rather quickly, probably not going to happen with most people because they're defunct, right?
No,
they're
you don't know yourself well enough.
Jack is walking.
Oh, okay. I don't know myself well enough. That makes sense. I'm constantly saying who and what I am and what I do and how I experience with great results. And it's me who doesn't know myself and my life and my path. Okay.
Well, it's why you're getting the results you get. Like
Jack said he wanted to hear someone speak from experience. Me and Jennifer have experience on some level with this dynamic, communicating about it, being triggered over it on both sides in certain ways, communicating through it, finding common unity and bond and trust and loyalty and respect and commitment, so to speak. So I don't know.
Yeah, and
other people
in
have
the early days that a lot of the guys I have to deal with helping people are a lot like you.
Guys,
thank you, Tom, for helping out again.
I just wanted to talk about the relationship shit, man.
Well, go ahead and do that and stop talking about other shit.
All right, so like all of you
are
you
in a relationship right now?
I've been in a lot. That's why I'm not in one.
So what makes you qualified to talk about? What makes you qualified to talk about being in a healthy, functional relationship?
He is
because
a
I have
man
been.
who has
I'm not
life
currently.
experiences.
Like I'm not currently boxing. I can talk about boxing.
With a woman, he's shown many dysfunctional
Oh, let somebody finish.
Oh, just because you see someone right now does not mean they spent the entirety of their experience.
Sorry, Jack. I'm sorry, Jack. I thought that if we were going to listen to someone bring value, you'd want them to have results before they talk about their shitty results. I'm foolish.
How about we hear what he's got to say instead of the fucking opinions about why we shouldn't?
Amen, Jack. Amen, Jack.
I needed to hear Jack say this shit, man. This is a good day.
Right.
We can't.
So, like,
play
in
up
the
to
one
Jack's ego more if he lets you
Paul,
to try to get control.
Will you shut up, Paul?
And it's also a good day to have people stand up and say some shit there too. So there's the context that like
about the
when
relationship.
you are a guy that can go cruise around and get whatever tail you want, it has an effect on a woman to be like more loyal because she knows you got that. And when she thinks you don't have that, she'll go cheat herself and walk all over you.
I don't think anybody will disagree with that.
And then, but in a relationship, regardless of like the sharing and stuff, whether you're an open hippie community or what, there's always STDs, people. And it's like, are you staying on top of that out of respect for each other? And I even had an open girlfriend one time where I was like, look, I might not care if you go fuck a guy, but don't you want me in like shouting range and to know where you are just in case that guy gets squirrely? And she didn't ever like propose to think about it that way. And
of course not. She was just one of them hoes looking for a fuck.
She was. Well, no. I mean, we were a relationship, but when you acknowledge you're an open relationship, it is like what Paul's saying because you both agree.
No, it still has to have honor. It still has to have honor, though.
But it didn't, and that's why that was the only time I tried it. I didn't dig it. I don't like it. I like the monogamous thing. Now, with the monogamous thing, if you're Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, which each could go get tail every night of the year, you show each other that they are like, you are my thing, man, because you know I could be out doing that, and I come home every night to show you I'm.
So that's
we
a
don't
bizarre.
have to,
that's a bizarre characterization where you project it onto women again that you think women think like men, and there's your fault most of the time.
I'd never
women
thought
can get tail. Women can get tail every night of the week if they want to. They don't have to. They don't. No. It's not the same dynamic. Even Brad Pitt has to be Brad Pitt to get pussy the way he does. Angelina Jolie would get dick if she was still on the block like Jenny.
But that's not true. Whenever I had that steroid, Jim,
it's not the same dynamic. It's not the same dynamic.
He's doing it. He's going to talk over me.
Yeah,
let him go.
Women turn
when
down
I had
more,
that,
shut up, Paul. Let him finish.
When I had,
he doesn't make any sense. He's not making any sense, and you want to keep hearing him speak.
Well, we can't make sense if you keep over talking him.
When I make sense if he's not sense-able either.
Oh my God!
You can't even talk right, so be quiet.
When I was that gym rat steroid-looking body, there was no working to it. I could I could try and piss girls off, and if they were DTF, it was coming. You couldn't mess it up when you're that ripped. And that's why I try and tell women and men alike: as long as you can make that neck down immaculate, you can get by with all kinds of neck up.
Let's be honest. Any woman can get dick any fucking time. Even fat, out of shape women, they drop their DM somewhere, and men are all in their fucking DMs.
But then in that context, those women, the women that we would think wouldn't get dick as easy, they want that Romeo that they can't get. And they can't get that Romeo, and they think they have to be that hot-ass Angelina to get Romeo. And they're kind of right, because we're visual creatures. We go out here intending to make the money, even though the women aren't trying to play that game these days. But there was a rhythm to the thing before where it was like.
I see where you're going at. The distinction.
And we're also talking the difference between getting laid and a person you're going to spend your life with.
A high quality man as opposed to any sex. You're talking about high quality shit now.
You keep going to neck down for where you get your power, and where you lose your power is the neck
if
up.
If it's getting laid, yes. Right? If I'm trying to find...
in general, it's the reason why you don't have a functional relationship.
Yeah, you robot it out, Tommy, if you're talking.
If you can't use this properly, the rest of it ain't worth a fucking dime.
And with the multi-women shit, man, it was hard enough to find one that ain't a hassle. The odds of finding two in my lifetime will be really unbelievable.
For sure, Joe. Jack, thank you. We were having a nice, peaceful peaceful conversation, I thought, and then it erupted into chaos because I
Oh, that's
thought we were
Chuck, ain't
we
it?
were. Come
God
on,
bless you,
Tommy,
Chuck. I
give
didn't
me a
realize that
break.
was you. No,
Yeah,
I
it's,
really didn't know it was you because you gave the super chat, so I didn't know you were sitting here. Usually I super chat from the chat.
well, I believe Jack's trying to walk the spiritual path, and so I'm trying to support him best I can without being belittled, cussed at, called different names. I didn't come here for that. I thought, I thought this was Jack's panel, not the enslaved hour.
Oh, be nice.
And I've said that to him as well. I've said before, like Jack, you used to have a channel.
Hold on. I've been very clear about my admiration, my respect for Paul and what he brings. So I've also been very clear about my intentions to work with Paul. So criticisms are, for me, in the end, this is my stream, my panel. I'm responsible. I accept full responsibility.
Right on.
So the criticisms at Paul include me.
Meaning, the ultimate decision is his. Stop trying to intimate that Paul was influencing and took over his shit. He is saying, "Motherfucker, I'll make the decision."
Yes.
But there's a criticism that doesn't go to Jack, though.
Paul has a good part to
there
do
is.
with Jack's show now, and that's because Jack and Paul are developing that relationship that I was talking about, Jack, about. When you start out in trials and tribulations and you get through them, those make the strongest relationships. I hope that same thing.
Ain't that what Tommy and Paul is doing right now? They might just be working through the trials and tribulations, and then later on they find out how to communicate better.
There's a lot of nuance to these different relationships, and I even would like a safe chance to say something about this Paul Jack thing that I don't see.
Hey Tom, I love you. I love many of you. The Paul and Jack thing. If you don't like it, too bad. You're gonna
No, it's not about what I like. I think I see what that relationship is, though.
Oh, it's growing. And here, part of what was said is true, but admittedly, I mean, I showed some of my frustration. Paul and I are figuring out how to communicate, how to get along.
So let me just say my thing. Let me say my thing, and I got to go anyway because I'm hungry. I've been on another panel for a long time, but I think the criticism that doesn't go to Jack is my most recent interaction with Paul was him telling me I'm going to go to Jack and Yurt and all these panels, and I'm going to get the keys to their producer status, and then you'll never be on another panel again. And whenever I see you two's relationship trying to work out, I see like
the chance that that's going to happen to you.
I see two people trying to make sure if the other gets YouTube famous, the other's going to come along with them.
That ain't horrible.
Because I think Jack latches to Paul because Jack believed Paul whenever he said fame, fortune, already there. I'm telling you, people, I know YouTube. I mean,
Jack, cloud chaser.
Tom, you're funny, man.
No, I think he's attempting to ride coattails that don't stretch very far.
Cloud chasing.
No, clout chasing is like you want to get popularity from like Paul type stuff, I guess. Okay, maybe it is a little bit of clout chasing.
Well, admittedly, there's people who have risen to higher levels than me. Hey, I did email that Anton dude too today.
I don't know.
I said I wanted to have a conversation with him. So anyway, yeah, I am reaching up. I'm reaching out to everybody. Anybody who wants a better world and is willing to work with me to help move that direction, fuck yeah, let's work together.
Jack, if you would, we got a new person on here, just Christos. If you're still listening, did you have something to say, Christos? Because I think you've been up here a minute. I'm sorry, Jack.
Oh, he comes and goes on his technicals, and schedule. You'll reference him and he's like, oh, he's not in the panel right now. And then he pops back in.
I just didn't want to be rude. Y'all continue.
No, it literally is like his phone or something. He just comes and goes. But it was,
Yeah.
see, there he went.
Just left.
It was funny because in the panel I was on, like, he said something about Smith Agent, and they were chatting, and Smith Agent went up on the panel just to like say a line about Christos and leave. It was hilarious. And that's the kind of drama there's room for. That civil drama, not the
so. Yes,
not the snafu.
Why are you
everywhere
guys
my
even
face
listening
is
to
say,
Tommy
pedo,
when it
pedo,
comes to
pedo.
relationships? Tommy is the worst person all you guys could listen to when it comes to relationships.
And he was already here
Jack?
talking.
Where's your
Tommy, let
He's
him
a fucking
finish.
devil.
Let him finish,
Let him
Tommy.
finish.
Yeah, it'll take a while. I will. I know what he's
Chuck,
going to say.
No, I just want to say, where's the discernment on this panel when Tommy's coming up here acting like he got something to talk about relationships? Maybe a
Hey,
crack whore in a meth pipe. Maybe a crack whore in a meth pipe.
Snafu, would the alternative be censorship? Are you
No,
promoting
the alternative is
censorship
calling
on
his
this
ass out and
platform
saying,
now?
dude, you know nothing about relationships, and call
Or
just
maybe
like
we
Paul
should
was
listen
saying.
to Snafu.
No,
Action.
he's not promoting censorship. He's promoting what some would call bootlicking, which is realizing not everybody's opinion is created equal.
Still entitled to it, though, yeah.
Right, pretty much.
About
I kind of
relations.
think
I guess entitled to it in what sense? In the universe,
To
yes.
voice it.
Every venue,
To
no,
voice
you're
it.
not. You're not entitled to your own opinion at court or maybe at Jack's broadcast or a lot of other places. So I guess the administrator has to decide if everybody's opinion is entitled to it.
Yeah, I meant here, yeah.
See, this is my hold on. This is seriously my biggest concern. The biggest problem with humanity is this judging the messenger. Oh, I don't have to listen to you because you did this or you were in a
Democrat,
costume.
you're
or,
Republican, you're so and so, you believe in this, yeah. So I
right.
don't have to
It's
listen to you.
bunch of bullshit. We need
Joe Cool, you play Cupcake a lot.
Snafu.
Come on, let
right
Jack
with that.
finish.
Yeah, I'm all right with that. Snafu, I'm secure.
Let Jack get done.
Snafu,
Let him
you
finish.
especially, man. We've got to start listening to each other and move, not being so quick to jump to these fucking accusations and conclusions. Snafu.
Jack, Tommy constantly talks about his drug use. Talks
Snafu,
about sex on
you're
people.
not.
You
You're
don't,
not.
You don't listen to him.
Snafu, you are in this pattern of argument. Only you can fucking break it. And the way
All
you
hell,
break
Jack
it is
Talcott.
by the way you break it is by choosing to have a conversation, an actual discussion.
Okay, my discussion is why are you not discerning yourself when Tommy's saying he could talk about relationship? I could pick everyone on this panel has more relationship knowledge than anyone versus Tommy,
Not
even through
your
just the videos
crater
over the
face.
years.
Snafu,
You see, Paul
what
sitting next to a woman.
discussion
Jack, you've
is-
talked about your
what
kids
is
and
the
relationship with your wife.
discussion?
I'm just saying.
I'm fucking done.
He really needs help, Jack. You can probably help him in the future, but
I could help him if he'd shut his mouth and listen. I could help a lot of people.
even in a context of Paul's rights and freedoms, does my substance use produce any victims or damages on these panels? Even if I was openly,
you came on panel. It's got nothing to do with that. You came on panel at one point and you were bragging about fucking a drunk 17-year-old, and you thought that was cute and funny, and it was fairly recently.
That was our
means your
game.
attitude. It means you're somebody whose opinion on women and love and co-creation
No,
is
that's not my
valuable.
opinion. It's not my opinion. So maybe this is the panel you'll finally have to sit here and let me explain it to you. I went on Lauren's show talking about how I've been trolling Unslavia as long as I've been here.
It wasn't there. It wasn't on that panel. It was on Moose's panel. We all heard it and saw it.
Exactly.
Stop lying.
Exactly. That's where I was still playing those games, throwing out
You
those
weren't
lines.
trolling. You were kicking back on a panel, and you said in passing that if doing certain things is wrong, then you don't believe that because you've been with a 17-year-old and she really wanted it, and you think that it's legal.
No,
so
I
it's
said it
okay,
much
and
worse
she
than
was
that.
drinking.
Why don't you let me speak for what I
right,
do?
and that's what you really believe in your heart, right? So that's what you're
No,
convicted
you
by,
can't
what you
speak for
spoke
that
from your
because you've
heart.
shown you don't have a ground for it.
How about one of two things? We either try to clear the air or we shut it down.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell him the truth once and for all, and then if Snafu and him want to keep doing this thing, I hope people will step up like they did.
What was the intention of bringing up the story from your past that has obviously created this narrative?
Well, the story from my past is in a state where it's legal to date a girl that's 17. When I found out she was 17, I turned her down. She pursued me.
Okay, but what was the point?
Well,
the point?
I sold it in these streets with the grab 'em by the pussy context, specifically for, as we see at the show, it came back like, oh, let's go to the show and tell him he's a pedophile. So really, they were just playing into my hand, except that girl that actually did it, she's not even Unslavia. She hates Unslavia because they ran her off too.
All right, so you brought up a story from the past where you were how old and she was 17?
I was 29 and she was 17.
Okay.
And her parents knew me.
All right. And in that land, you say it's of consenting age and it was mutual. And
it was boring.
Jack,
we dated typically.
Jack, let me ask you something, Jack. Could you imagine being home with your daughter and this piece of work comes to the door and says he's going to fuck your 17-year-old?
You mean my street character?
Come on.
You really don't get it, Paul, do you? Like, you're going to look like a fool. Like,
everybody is part of who and what you are. You're not going to play that game.
Here's the reality.
You know why I get along with the Thorpes so well, Paul?
Tom, here, hold on. The thing is if a 17-year-old is doing that, there's obviously some wounds within that young mind.
No, I was a sexy bitch.
Well, I'm sure. And Tom,
and we had
I'm trusting. I'm trusting.
Here's the significance. Here's the significance.
Hold on, Tom. I'm trying to present for you. All right.
No,
I don't know it to be a
present.
fact. I don't know it to be a fact, but based upon the conversations, he's presented as though it was a younger period. Maybe, it wasn't with the purpose of taking advantage of a younger person, but it was enjoying the opportunity, maybe.
It's the difference between, are you out getting laid or are you trying to see if someone is a life partner? And because we found that possible life partner attempt, that's why I gave it the chance. It wasn't me out trolling high school girls because I get older and they stay the same age. It wasn't any of that. But you can see how I could go to a nobody.
The fact that you and that girl and that family thought that it would be functional for you, of all people, to enter into that dynamic with your personality type is bizarre.
And that's what you're missing. This isn't me. This isn't me, Paul.
Because you exhibit egoic, narcissistic, insecure, controlling, obsessive traits. So why anybody would think it's a good idea for a woman at 17 who's dealing with substance abuse to be dating a 29-year-old with, I suppose, family issues, who probably has her own family issues,
you have no discernment, Paul.
Of dysfunction. You're not a leader. You're not somebody who could take on that opportunity.
You're cherry-picking the games we play in these streets, and you're saying that's factually him.
Okay, that's fine. You're a drug addict who at the time would have added to their problems and confusion. You wouldn't have been solving it.
So I've continuously told you through this rant that you got
two people with substance abuse issues from broken homes co-creating at bizarre age differences with the
even whenever I dated that girl, I had not had Breaking Bad thrown on me yet.
Yes, it happens.
Right. I already said, imagine Tommy showing up to your door as a parent saying he's going to take your 17-year-old drinking daughter on a date. It's laughable.
So what? It happened. It's happening somewhere else with a different Tommy and a different traumatized girl.
I'd bet anything that there was no father in that. I'd bet anything that there was no man in that home.
Over there, 17 would be our 18. So over there, everybody thinks 17 is okay.
And when I was 18 in high school, I moved out of my house, not out of broken home, but just for the freedom. And it's not like I would date a 17-year-old girl that, number one, had to tell me she was 17 compared to just her physical appearance.
Anyway, you wouldn't want to date a 17-year-old. What the fuck does she know? What kind of conversation could she have? That's the reason I wouldn't want to fucking date no 17-year-old.
Because I'm from the old-fashioned time, as offensive as feminists take this, but I come from a time when if you were happy with a woman, you were going to handle most of the business aspect anyway, and as long as you got along, had things in common, had fun with each other, that's what I was looking for. And whenever I showed up at the door, what do you guys have in common specifically? When I showed up at the door, it was her parents more like, well, it took you long enough. Because like I said, Paul, she was pursuing me after I found out 17, and I still felt and thought the way you guys do. And I had never touched the Breaking Bad. I wouldn't for years after her. And it would still be by a friend trying to get in my booty hole.
Okay.
And you never acknowledge that.
This is just I'm ready to end this stream. Okay.
Well,
honestly.
I didn't want to take it there, Jack. He wanted to know what he wants to know.
Well, okay, but you did take it there, and I've been patient, and I don't see resolve. I brought this up that I only wanted to put it on if there was fucking resolve. There's no resolve. You both reject.
This is a success. You were a success, and you're mad. Like, do you think this man can come at me on panel to panel now that you've let this happen, Jack? I appreciate you, friend.
Tom.
Jack, I told you about my life back when we were both having phone calls, like being sick of that dude. I'm happy you can work with him. I never can.
I'm gonna get back. Jack,
so you guys actually took the time out to have phone calls to talk about being sick of me?
No, it was more about Jack. You got a room here. It was more about Jack. You got a room here.
Paul. Obviously, there's other explanations than that bullshit narrative.
Well, here goes Tommy now, sowing discontent and discord as always, trying to put
very
the
content right now.
To everyone attached to me. That's why I wasn't playing the victim. This is just what they all do, right? I can't work with Jack one way or the other. I'm damned if I do.
No, you can. I'm happy you guys work together. I'm just saying, I think that working together is both of you believe you can symbiotically benefit from each other rather than be friends. Because I see how Moose did both of you. Like, you both had the same thing with Moose. Like, you both see Moose for what Moose does.
And we both see you for the chaos and confusion you bring too, Tom.
Well, chaos is a ladder. I go into it and I bring back fire for the common man.
Well, you don't bring as much as you think. You bring fucking chaos.
I bring what my Sky Dad wants because, like I said, I didn't plan for the morning show to go that way, but I can work with it.
I'm
an agent of Sky Daddy.
Tom, there's a reason we don't talk privately often because
I don't anymore.
Pattern where you think you should be talking.
No. The reason we don't talk private anymore is because you don't need a room anymore and you don't care.
We get along much better with separation.
I agree. That's why I found some channels that aren't in this give Paul the keys shit. And
all right. Have a wonderful night, Tom. I love you, brother.
I knew it. Talk yourself right into it, didn't you, Jack?
I try so hard. I really do. I try so hard with so many. And it just fucking blows my mind. Because please, you in the chat, those who might be seeing, it's not just this panel. This is my life. I don't get it.
And in case you guys didn't notice, there's been 6, 7, 8 months there. I gave Jack a very hard time, and I don't know if there's any man out there tougher than he is. It's a lot to put up with.
You know, I'm committed to my purpose.
You can't love, right? I'm lagging. Sorry, Jack. That's on my end because they changed up the connection.
Yeah, something just happened. It's all right. This idea of commitment, though, I committed myself to the truth, standing up for what was right, what I knew to be true, and I got fucking locked up. I was committed. This world we live in is inverted and fucking backwards. And we've been taught that we're not good enough. We've been taught that we can't do anything. We've been taught a lot of bullshit. But what I know for a fact is now. I know nothing more than now. And right now, brothers and sisters, thank you. Someone's got an echo.
It's got to be Chuck. He's the only one not muted.
It's all right. Hey, brothers and sisters, seriously, thank you. Do you guys, I am, the energies have shifted. I'm in that closing up mode right now. So you guys have anything to offer? I'll throw you in the back.
Yeah, can I say final words and get out of here? I really appreciate you having me up, Jack. I apologize if it went a direction you didn't want it to. I genuinely thought it was good content that was a unique conversation. And I will say I respect everybody in their opinions that was up here having the conversation. I don't know that Illumitami had that much to add, actually, but even Chuck, I understood what he was trying to do, but I thought he was a distraction. Would have been nice if it could have just been more Paul and I, having that communication, because we've had that, so we probably shouldn't have done that on your channel. And I've avoided going on his panel because I wanted to actually just have these interactions outside of there, because initially I was saying he would just make an ass out of me. But in hindsight, maybe that wasn't fair to Paul because he's never done that to me. And the reality is, even here, he had the controls. He didn't mute me. He didn't do any of that kind of shit. So, Paul, I respect you, dude. And I challenge you because I feel like I owe you that. If I have to bring my best, if I genuinely think there's holes in your argument, or there's something that I have learned that maybe you haven't, that
Dick,
you could
can you
glean
hear
wisdom
me?
from me. Yeah, I'm just continuing
I'm
my
having
thought. You have a
connection
tendency
issues.
to interrupt people, Paul, and it just seems to
I'm
go
having
that
connection
way.
issues, Dick. I'm cutting
Can't let
in
me
and
dot
out.
my
Can
I's
you
and
hear
cross
me?
my T's. I had a whole dissertation I wanted to give. All right,
Very
Paul.
good point there, Dick. You made a very good point that your initial point was that I make an ass out of you on the panel. No, you make an ass out of yourself. I just highlighted and pointed out. And there's no reason for you to get triggered and emotional by that. Just submit to the
I'm
process.
learning through all this.
We'll all be better for it.
My initial premise was we have to be authentic and we have to follow the conscience that sears us. I threw a bunch of definitions out here and words. I really don't give a shit about any of that. It actually comes down to the premise of this whole stream, which is commitment and communication. If you communicate with someone and you make a commitment, you should honor it. If you have to renegotiate, I hope you seek the spirit out in that and know that you've discerned in the highest intentions of your best self that you could actually do something honorable with that renegotiation. But at the very, premise of the whole discussion, to me, it's about communication. And if you make a commitment, you are only your honor and your integrity.
That was real
and your
sexy,
to
Chuck. I could see your second and third wife really being attracted to that. You belching into the fucking microphone, some beer bird.
Well,
and I was going to say,
I'm sorry.
I was going to say that Dick, the conversation between you and Paul, as far as tonight's topic, is spot on, because it is about commitment. And like I said earlier, it doesn't matter what kind of relationship you're in, polygamy, polyamorous.
Yeah, it's just words. None of them's a perfect expression, right?
Right. It's about the honor that you give each other from the start. And somebody mentioned it earlier. If you're going to get into these kind of relationships, you've got to be open enough to talk about the other kinds of relationships that are available in case things go that way. This is about being prepared and making that commitment and knowing what you're committing to by knowing what else is out there. You can't. It's hard to commit to something if you don't know what else is out there, and you're saying, "Well, this is best for me," and then come to find out 30 years down the line, everybody's been lying to you your whole fucking life, and then you find out what's really good for you. So it's all about the honor right from the start. If you want equity, you must first seek equity. If you want love, you must first come with love.
Now, Wizard brings up a good point there that commitment's only really valuable if you have options, right? So this is just, well, let's not cycle. I feel like we're cycling and Jack wants to get the hell out of here. But the reality of it is we used to do something called dating and courting, right? In which case you would expose yourself, dare I say, to these biological waste baskets that we call human beings, and you would share different experiences and connections, and then you would decide who amongst those folks were worthy of a commitment, like telling God you're going to stay with them forever all the time and only them, which to me is a foolish commitment to make outright. Why would I need to make that commitment? I don't need to do that.
That's not monogamy, though.
I am and how
monogamy is just one partner at a time. You could stay with them for the course of raising a child. You could have, many different expressions.
You have a habit of cutting people off when they're saying things that.
But again, the concept goes to honor, and even the Amish portray this in their Rumza or whatever they call it, where their young children, once they reach a certain age, are allowed to go out upon the European communities to make their own decision, whether what they've been brought up in so far is good for them, or if they want to choose that other option that they've been speaking about but don't know about yet. That way they get the experience to go out and know. Again, it's all about the actions speak louder than the words. And it doesn't matter how much people portrayed anything in my life. I found out it was myself that was actually lying to me, because no matter how much everybody else lied, I should have at a certain point in time come to a realization of my own choices. And I didn't. I kept believing in that.
Wizard.
Hey, I want to get out of here, Jack. I just want to finish my statement. I had one more thing to say, and then I can get out of your hair.
I hate you, Dick. I hate you.
No, you don't. Or if you do, then you mean it in a loving way.
No, I really don't, but you are so abrasive, even almost as
empathetic, understanding, willing participant in refinement as we sharpen iron with iron here
Dick,
today, Paul.
Please, just let me get in here, Dick. You're always protruding. Okay, let me get in.
All right, go ahead.
So, did I have to make a commitment to God and the state to love the woman that I was with, who we were both goofy bitches with substance abuse problems? No, I didn't. Because of the way I live, if you call it a godly way, I'm tasked to love everyone, including my enemies, folks who I don't consider enemies, but consider me an enemy. So why wouldn't I love that woman and care for her and be there for her the same way I would have been when we were fucking, right? I don't need to be fucking someone because oddly enough, when we were in a relationship, we weren't fucking a lot of the time. We were being sexual in certain ways, but no penis and vagina, like Dick pointed out. So I didn't need to make a commitment in order to stick to the idea of will and discipline and care and unconditional love with conditional trust and respect and boundaries that are healthy. Make sense?
And with that, I'm going to close out. Jack, I love you. Great job tonight. You showed great patience. I do think you should have come up and opened up your mouth a little bit more. It would have helped a little bit, particularly in situations like Chuck. You got to recognize when they're putting things out there and have no input. I agree that some of the conversation shouldn't have been going the way it was, but there's much better way to orient that than to just come out and tell people to shut the fuck up. I'm guilty of that myself. I'm learning. So again, great patience. Love you, brother. And remember, Sometimes you just got to listen to the inside of you. Have a good night, everybody.
Cheers, Wizard.
See you later, Wizard.
All right, I'm out of here, Jack, Paul, Chuck, Christos, everyone. Have a great evening. Thanks for the discussion. And, I'm sure it'll somehow be picked up in some way at another point, because these things always seem to loop. So whatever wasn't said will have a chance to be said at another time. But Paul, always, much respect to you, and appreciate your views and willingness to just go through the process of challenging each other. And even though I don't always like it when you challenge me and I get triggered, and I'm not saying I want you to, because it is actually, there's a part of it that's like, I feel like then I have to come back and give you my best of what I really think is the truth that I see in myself. And it's not that it's a difficult process. It's just, I respect you. And these things of challenging each other publicly, it seems kind of odd. Like I should have this conversation with you in private, but I know you like to do all this shit right out in the open and just fucking put it out there. So I don't talk to you in private. I just say, I'm going to honor him in that. I see the value in that. Let's just fucking hash it out. Say what we think. Let it flow. And I appreciate you doing that. And again, even though I don't always respond positively to the challenge, I see the value in it. And so have a great evening.
Well, Dick, I appreciate you as well. Same sentiments back at you. And when you say this is going to continue, yes, probably in a few moments on my panel for another few moments. If not, if you're not over there, I will insult you while you're not there. So please be there in order to insult me back. And I'm going to get the hell out of here, Jack. I appreciate your facilitation and your broadcast and your efforts. You've been showing up for yourself and everyone else. And you've been giving the people some value, some information, a little bit of back and forth, Jerry Springer, Maury style. And, people can't get away from that one way or the other, it seems. So they love their controversy. They love their heated debates and arguments. I guess, like it or love it, it is the way it is. But blessings to you, sir, and many more.
Hey, Jack, thank you for having me. I try to be a maximum service to God and to others. I realize some people don't like me. I'm sorry about that. I wasn't trying to be here as a disruption in your show, but my God, we was having a good conversation and it went haywire. And it's no fault of yours. I just want to say thank you and continue on your path.
Thank you, brother. Have a good night. Scott, you showed up as the last words were being offered. You got anything to offer?
Just stick me in the back. Say your good nights. I'll talk to you in a minute.
Well, brothers and sisters, tonight was another night. It was another stream. I hope those who joined, and I want to thank those who joined the panel tonight, especially, had some elaborate, complex discussions regarding relationships. The purpose of the time I was hoping to share was commitment, and relationships are a big part of the commitment. My commitment is to a better world, brothers and sisters, and I'm sick and tired of the negativity that I see throughout my days, no matter where I go. I look for the good. I offer the good everywhere I go, and everywhere the shit finds me. I wonder if you can imagine how frustrating that might be after 5 years. I mean, this is... I love you, brothers and sisters. If someone is willing to share time, oh, fuck that. I don't want a pity conversation, but I'd love if someone is interested in learning what I know, learning what I have experienced or what I intend and believe to be achievable. If anyone wants to know about what I'm explaining, please reach out to me. My links are in the description. The idea of commitment, I am committed to a better world. To create a better world, we've all got to commit ourselves to the truth. And again, the truth must not be denied. We must seek the truth. When we've got disagreements, okay, what is the cause of the disagreement? What are the facts involved in the discussion? Until we commit to peace, until we commit to knowing, all we do is imagine, remember. We're here to imagine and create a better world, brothers and sisters. I know it seems hard to get past the memories and move past what you've chosen to remember. But every moment is new, and every person changes. Every moment changes. One thing as I'm speaking, after hearing a repeated conversation regarding monogamy and, free love, the thought occurs to me, even after repeated conversations, each person changes. So even having the same conversation at a different time may bring different results, because we never know what the other person may have experienced in between the last time we tried communicating, which is why I am hopeful about reuniting with people from my past. I know the truth. I know the truth that their accusations of me have been wrong. Oh, which reminds me, God bless. Almost 4 hours in, today's my sister's birthday. Barbara, if you happen to listen, happy birthday. I miss you and I love you. With that, brothers and sisters, commitment. Commit to growth, please. Commit to more, right? More what? Not more problems, not more conflicts, not more disagreements, more. More love, more peace, more generosity, more creativity, more fulfillment. Just more of you, more of life, more of love, more of peace. And I think with that, choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. God bless.